All right, Brandon. Hey, another show, Countercultural Conversations, talking about Hegelian dialectics, one of my favorite topics, and I'm sure you feel it's very important too. How you been?
I'm doing all right. I think yeah, it's definitely a topic to get out there. I know some people they get upset. It gives barely with stuff that we're talking about, but I said at least we're talking. The best they can do is hit dislike or write a mean comment. I'm like, well, if you didn't have anything to say, you're probably not doing much in the fight anyway.
Yeah, these are
But
these are
I enjoy
sensitive
these
topics.
conversations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're conversations that need to be had
Mm,
regardless of how many feathers get ruffled. And if we do it in the right way, our message is pure. We're not
yep.
trying to be,
Intentions are pure.
our intentions are pure. We're trying to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I always think about this. If a person gets upset, that's more of a reflection of where they're at and what their
Mm.
path is than it really is, well, what we've said. I believe that.
Well, again, as we've always been talking, we're trying to be part of the solution as opposed to just creating people who are stagnant. We were just saying prior that a lot of pastors and political pundits they make you stagnant, and they're not making you on fire or aware when you leave the I don't know the sermon. A sermon even means the talk, right? So there should be even be more dialogue course within a congregation. And I'm not saying that you reserve solely for a pastor, but some men like ourselves or
Mhm.
whoever should be dedicating their time trying to answer some questions because I'm always getting DM'd this. So obviously they're going to a church, but they never get a chance to ask it because if you treat it
No.
like similar to Catholicism, trust the holy man, then you leave, but your real concerns and needs are never met.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're
Yeah.
hungry, but then you never get fed because it's all listen to him, and then you leave and nothing ever gets done.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
It is, and there really needs to be something you can bring back and take into the real world instead of, okay, here's the 2 hours where I got filled up,
Mm.
and I got the word, and then it just ends almost. And I don't know, it's just kind of interesting to me because I get a little bit frustrated sometimes too. I'm like, hey, it's and we talked about this last week, this idea of Christians being, knowing the government 2,000 years ago killed their favorite guy,
Mm.
and being trusting of the government now. I'm like, do you see can you connect the dot that government is government, whether it's over there or over here or back then or whatever. I mean, they killed your favorite guy. Do you not connect the dots and go, hey, I probably shouldn't trust these government people? I get a little bewildered myself.
Well, it's even our favorite guy, but it's the aspect of cities. I was talking with my aunt Nancy as I was coming back from this thing, and she was saying that I have a grandfather or something in the family line, and he had a huge disdain for cities too. And I
Mm.
was chuckling because I'm like, yeah, you look throughout the Bible. I think it was Cain who was the founder of cities, followed by Nimrod,
Mm.
right? And
Right.
the whole aspect of what have cities always done? Well, we have Sodom and Gomorrah. We just keep on
Mhm.
going. Jerusalem with Christ. Yeah, like you
Debauchery and yeah.
right. It brings and broods this caustic mentality, a little remnant off of Babel. This is what I almost call like a brick toss from Babel, is because people still get back into that collective mindset, and then once they're part of a herd, they get upset when somebody tries to join them that's not of them,
Right.
right? Because they're not part of this government, police state, fill in the blank, whatever you want to call it. I was looking at a meme today. It was by Padilla, and she says, if govern to control meant mind means mind control, and it is a core, like corporation, dead operation speak, what
Mm.
do you call someone who believes in it and talks about it? A mind controlled dead speaker,
Wow.
which veers into what we
Wow.
talk about today. But I'm like, yeah, and this is where I think it's in Proverbs or Psalms. It says talks about the congregation of the dead. Whereas
Mm.
Christ, these people please me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me, as paraphrasing the prophet
Mm.
Isaiah. Be ye doers of the word, not hearers only in James. So, like, there's a consistent theme
Yeah.
that you can talk a big game, but are you willing to put your skin in the game?
Yeah.
Are you willing to lose everything for what you believe in? And sadly, no. A lot of people were not discipling. We're creating people who are doormats. And
Yeah.
we're not supposed to be walked over. We're supposed to go down. talking about what and believing what we believe.
Yeah, and the first thing that comes to mind when you make that statement is that it can be it's difficult for any person in the material physical world with this beast system prevailing to kind of extricate themselves. Let's be real. I mean, when finance runs everything and we generally need money to trade and get services. But then I think about the people that are generationally, like their parents were indoctrinated and embedded into the system, whether it's working for the government or working for the church, and then their grandparents and so on and so forth. They're so far in that it's almost inconceivable to cut those ties because it's generational. Like, what do you think about that? I mean, those people are like in deep.
It's routine, but this is again varying into traditions of men, which is Kabbalah, which in Hebrew, that's what the word translates to, and that's what the cult practices is where after a certain time, right, man dictates what goes on in the building, and they automatically eject God out of the equation. God's word, Christ made flesh, right? God's word is then twisted and mangled to adapt and make palatable their own lifestyle choices,
Yeah.
right? The routine, because then it merges with what the government says, your nationalism says, your this says, and then
Yeah.
people are looking at you, goes, no, this isn't biblical at all. And then they say you're taking that out of context.
Yeah.
Or when you show them like the Christmas stuff or an Easter thing, you go, this is this, see the visuals, see this is what the occult does. And then they say, well, I don't do it for those reasons.
People can
God
talk
knows my
themselves
heart.
into anything, right?
Hey, it's like okay. So I just
Yeah.
confronted you. You're acknowledging we're at a moment, and instead of saying, "Oh, you got me," they then justify what they're doing. And to the end, to him that knows it is sin, it is accounted unto him. And Kabbalah is ultimately doing what Christ said, or the very end of Revelation. It says, "Whoever adds to this book or takes away, a curse will be added unto him." So if you're
Mm,
even doing that with your lifestyle verbally, as opposed to being like, oh, they changed the Bible, they changed the Bible, maybe you don't have a problem so much with the Bible being changed because you're not living it and you're not reading the Bible, or letting your Bible read you more so. Because you're
yeah.
supposed to change and make applicational what you're saying. But if you're making it fun and you become stagnant and you're not controversial, if somebody's not insulting you at this point in time, saying you're a hypocrite, you're blah, 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 you might not be living it.
Yeah, if you're with the majority, you might want to recheck what your
Yeah. You
thoughts
might want to
are.
just be like, okay, I got it. Yep, did
Yeah.
a self-awareness check, and I'm not hitting the mark. But yeah, I think that's ultimately what it's come down to. And pastors have kind of almost they become little poperies, where it's become the throne of the little miniature. I'm not saying every single one. I'm saying
No, but
majority though,
yeah,
and because they
clearly.
kind of got a little bit of a status flex. I mean, right now
Yeah.
with the Pope kicking the bucket, what's that going to do? Oh, great. Project 2025. We're going to start doing the Sunday laws within the next couple months or 2 years or so like that as they try to find the new Pope, quote unquote. And it ends up becoming the
Mhm.
one world religion because it's not a coincidence, folks. It's
Yeah.
not a coincidence. They're grooming and funneling us to this point in time for a reason. And because they have little districts with churches and you're already paying taxes, 503 to a
Mhm.
corporation, right? A dead corporation. So if
Yeah.
your church is already part of a corporation, America's already corporate America as a registered thing. It's when do you? It's a click for you. Wait, this is
Yeah.
propaganda. It's just like school. It's designed like a prison.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a control system.
yes,
It's one of the two control systems, right?
yeah.
Government and well, the multiple government, media, church, etc. But one of the big ones, probably the second biggest one, government being the biggest one,
Hmm.
and a lot of people in churches, I don't think they realize that. They're like, oh, this is all good, and there's no
Right.
no evil in here because it's like where do you hide something where no one would find it? Well, you hide it right in plain sight, and they're like would never look in the church. Heaven forbid, they would never look in the church, but yet there it is, controlling the masses,
It's like
you
it's
know.
like a prisoner. Where's the best place to hide from a prison? Underneath the freaking prison. Like, well, wouldn't you want to get away from here as far as possible? You
Good
would think
point.
that, right? But it's the most ideal place.
Good
And
point.
this is, as you just said, is like they come in and they're like, well, yeah. And then they become self righteous because this is oftentimes, again, I've been in these areas. oh, they're from the bad part of town, or they're not too. Oh yeah, we just don't witness to them because they're Muslim, and
Hmm.
it becomes this entitled bias. And then as on top of that, well, we get extracted out before it gets really bad with the Raptors, so we don't have to worry about what's
Yeah.
going on in the world.
No accountability, right? Or it's just like,
It's like that's your life.
yeah,
What was Christ? Get out of town. We're gonna stone you. Get it in. At a certain point, he's just like, you know what? I'm not even gonna argue. I
yeah,
imagine he's sitting there silent. But you're the word of God and you're sitting silent at a time when you're being pressed. Why? Because I know anything I say, it's not going to be relevant. They
yeah,
want to have their way, so be it.
yeah. They already have the talking points to get out of it in their mind and justify it. And it is, I mean, you're like you said, I mean, why waste your time? I mean, to a degree, when there's always more work to be done. But yeah, so Hegelian dialectic. Um, j- let's first of all go through what it is first. Let's define it. I mean,
Well, I could read a little
yeah.
meme here. A 19th century German philosopher, George Hegel, devised a method of argument for resolving disagreements. His method of arriving at the truth by exchange of logical arguments is a system that is still used today. In short, it is a framework for guiding thoughts and actions into conflicts that lead to synthetic solutions, which can only be introduced once those being manipulated take a side that will advance the predetermined agenda. The basis of this HD dictates, Hegelian dialect, that the human mind can't understand anything unless it can be split into two polar opposites: good,
Mhm.
evil, right, wrong, left, right. For example, when people are talking about two political parties, Republican, Democrat, what they actually are referring to is the thesis and antithesis. Based off of the Hegelian um, dialects, both of these parties are controlled by the elite to arrive to the synthetic solution of a new world order. Illusion of choice, another form of the Hegelian dialects, is problem, reaction, solution, or the thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, where the elite create the initial problem, then manage the public reaction, then sell the predetermined solution.
That's really good. Sums
Right?
it up nicely. Well, and the other thing that I think about when I think about Hegelian dialectic, and I don't know where I picked this up from or saw this, but it's a complementary idea, I think, and let me know what you think about this. The way a problem is framed makes a big it plays a big role in how it's going to be, what the solution is going to be. And sometimes the government or the media frames the problem. It's exactly like the Hegelian dialectic. Framing it inherently causes you to arrive at the solution they want you to arrive at.
Right.
Whereas, you know, there could be infinite number of solutions instead of just two, left,
Mhm.
right. you know?
Well, what's the funneling that we see are two common tropes, especially with talking heads today. Um, Again, like Brett Cooper has looked into the catechisms of Catholicism. Candace Owens, Catholic. Jordan Peterson wears the Virgin Mary thing all over his outfit now. A lot of times, what it is, I'm conservative and I'm Catholic, right? And or I'm going in this direction. To wake up is conservative, so we're getting the liberals to come over to our side, right?
Yeah.
As opposed, what did Christ say? Straight is the way and narrow is the point. I mean, don't veer to the left, don't veer to the right, just straight and narrow. And we've already, as it's saying, well, this side has the solution. They sound more morally just. Morally just, I'll give it points up, does sound good, but is that your testimony? Is that the Bible?
Yeah.
Well, it aligns with the Bible. Ah, now where do we find the it aligns with the Bible versus you're trying to take what the Bible says and justify, right? You're trying to put some frosting on, saying, yeah, we Christianized it. All right, so you have Christian Baphomet in the corner. Does that still make it Christian? Right? Where do you start saying when you're confronted, maybe I'm not the good side either, right? And they
Yeah.
don't bother to scrutinize themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at any time, it's been so obvious how they're using this, trauma that Biden and Harris and the left did to us to traumatize Christians and the right to make them so insane. We got to stop this problem. But the reality is, was there really a problem? I mean, or did they create a problem? They're always
Mhm.
creating problems. And it's once you see the Hegelian dialectic play out a few times, it's so easy to see it over and over again. But unless you see it a couple times and you see it with, I didn't see it at the time, but looking back, I see the early 2000 buildings came down. That Hegelian dialectic. 2 weeks later, they passed the Patriot Act, which I'm like, holy crap.
Hmm.
Looking back, it's so wild that in a moment of grieving and trauma for the nation, they passed one of the most aggressive surveillance bills this nation have ever seen 2 weeks after a traumatic event. What do all counselors and therapists tell you to do? Never make big decisions for 6 months after a traumatic event. So you see, once you
Nice.
see the way they guys
Nice.
roll, and then you see it all the time, the border Hegelian dialectic, whether the Dodd-Frank financial Hegelian dialectic, the Obamacare Hegelian dialectic. It's over and over and over again. It's everywhere. It's their favorite tool.
Well, I think that's why people don't get it. So let's say some of them have woken up to phase one. Both sides are controlled. Then I'll put a post out there talking about bordertarianism and saying there's no borders in heaven, right? It's an imaginary line. Well, I'm not, again, if somebody, and that goes for if they're white or anything, they break into your house, you have the right to defend yourself. Not saying that's not a thing. But what are they doing? They are giving you the incentive for, yeah, if the government wants to go after that particular person, cool. So, first, right now, it's the immigrants, and I'm thinking of that Bart Simpson. I was thinking about that before I came
Yeah.
on today. It says, for now, like I'm going after immigrants for now. And then what does Trump just
Mhm.
say? Build 5 more mega prisons for
Yeah.
domestic terrorists. Is
Yeah.
that Tesla? Is that me saying F Donald Trump? Again, that's not me. I'm just saying, is that
Right.
part of
What
the
if?
mindset of what this is going to broaden into? Like, where do we draw that line? But what have they've
Yeah.
already created the incentive for? Well, they're terrorists. They're part of a gang. They're this. So you're
Yeah.
already justifying big government by, oh yeah, go ahead and do that. And then Doge, it's not getting rid of big
I
government.
know.
It's
Yeah.
making
It's just,
obsolete programs go out because they're not going to be needed by their 2030 slave
yeah.
state, like full on slave state. It's like, yeah, and you, who Elon has said, right? What's they're going to do? They're going to keep bankrupting the middle class, and it's going to get to even the lower class. It's
Yeah.
going to get to the
Everyone.
point where he implements universal income for all via AI. And with AI, he says we are summoning the demon.
Yeah.
So you're basically telling me if we keep supporting Elon in the way that they're going and they break the middle class, you're going to accept digital communism.
Yeah.
And it's not the left. It's the right
It's the
that's going to
right.
be begging for it.
Yeah.
Why are you going to do it? Because you got rid of all the people that were saying, "Hey, bro, do you hear what they're saying? Shut up."
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you
And
keep getting
it,
rid of the dissent, you have no voice of reason, aka the intellectuals. Why are they the first to
mhm.
go?
Yeah, they're
You're
always
at
the
your
first to
zone.
go. And in some cases, the intellectuals are simply saying, "Hey, have you guys thought this through? Do
Yeah,
you see any other angle here or another play?" But it, it's just like during COVID time, this trance of we gotta get that virus, we gotta get it. If and you know, go back and see some of the crazy news people and media people and Howard Stern and Arnold Schwarzenegger, screw your freedom, and like Howard Stern, like if you don't take this thing, you're gonna have to be ostracized from society.
yeah.
Now people see it as literal crazy. I think most people, well, I shouldn't say most, some people still probably believe that way. But I think the majority of people, they're like, okay, that's crazy the way they were talking. Heck, even Arnold Schwarzenegger apologized. A lot of them apologized later on, but it doesn't matter. But now you see it right now with this Doge thing and with the like, get him, go get him, that gets people out of the country. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we round two, ding, ding, ding.
So
It's so
you're
wild.
the one, and I think I'm not sure if I think I've told you this before, but there was the play about Julius Caesar and the scene with Mark Anthony doing the eulogy at Caesar's funeral.
I
And
don't
he's
think so.
basically saying yes, and this and it says I know, and then he's starting to take this really sad moment, right? And Caesar had this plan for you, and that plan for you, and then this one of the assassins, but he is a good man, and he can't be wrong. And
Mhm.
Caesar wanted to do this for you, and gradually the
Yeah.
crowd gets so riled up that they start burning down half of Rome, and the guy's going like, "What the
Mm.
frick, dude? You're supposed to do a eulogy." Now the crowd, right, is fighting for
Yeah.
you, And they're clearing it up so you literally can be like, okay, cool. Now I can get the military to do what I want to do. But first, I need to use the populace, right?
Yeah.
Utilizing somebody's good character. Like, oh, they shot somebody at the event. Oh, during people died during 9/11.
Yep.
Yeah. And what did they do? Got you
Yeah.
all cut up in a frenzy. And
Yes.
then they said, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Some people lost their heads, just like J6. Some people lost their heads, but
Yep.
it's okay. I'm still the voice of reason amidst the chaos, right? You know me.
Yeah.
No,
Master
it's like,
manipulators.
have you been noticing with the Republicans from J6? I think I was reading up to 8 to 9 articles. A lot of J6ers dying in a car accident, getting rearrested for finding child porn on their thing. Like, there's a lot
Really?
of
Okay.
accidents happening to
Really?
J6ers that are getting pardoned. And it's like, do you not notice a trend here?
Yeah,
Hey,
well, I'm seeing,
yo.
there's so many, yeah, I mean, there's so many accidents, accidents,
Yes.
happening all over the world these last couple of handful of years. It's bizarre. Again, once you wake up and see what's going on, you're like, oh man, every time it happens, it's like, oh geez, you can see the telltale signs because that's how they roll.
It's so obvious to see, as you said, it's so obvious to see once you understand the
Yeah,
playbook of how they think, right?
yeah,
And when you try to explain it to somebody else, like, this is how evil works. No, everybody's good and there's one good solution. The government
yeah,
does care about me.
yeah. Because they want to believe. People want to feel good about it. No, they're like they educated me. They educated my parents, their parents. Yeah, it's like no, we've all been duped for a long
Hmm.
time.
And then we eventually
Uh,
forged, as that clip that you saw from my dinner with Andre says,
yeah.
what if the prisons are not, built by the bad guys? It's
Yes.
built by us. And then when anybody tries to
Yes.
stick their head out of this thing, it's like that, in paraphrasing, but he's basically, I'm like, yeah, that's what we've done. We've now become so, it's like the frog boiling boiling some
Yes.
or over here going, what do you mean my jacuzzi's killing me? Well,
Yeah.
it looks fun, right? But at a
Yeah.
certain point, it's like it's literally boiling you alive. I'm seeing flesh sizzling off of you, and you're going, no, no, everything's fine.
Yeah,
Everything's fine.
like you literally can't pay you we literally can't put food on your table. You have to make difficult choices every day because the financial system house is burning down, but you
Hmm.
still have faith that Donald Trump's going to fix it or that the next guy is going to fix it. Even
Four
though
more years.
well,
4 more
4 more
years.
years. Like we got to get, I'm like, come on, when are you going to get off the best feeling I ever had was when I just made the decision. I'm getting off the crazy train. I'm never getting back on, taking my chances out in the real world. I'm never going to go back. It's so freeing, you know.
It's freeing, but then it's ironic because you got the right saying, "Oh, liptard, oh, you suffer from TTS."
Yeah,
You got
you're
the
part
other
of the
side,
problem now. Yeah,
yeah, the
that
other side
when you
saying like,
escape from it.
"Oh, do you support Donald Trump?" And I'm
Yeah,
like, "No."
yeah, I don't support
Like
any
my
of him.
buddy, he's always trying to tell his boss, and she's like, "Oh, you voted for him?" And he's like, "No, I keep telling you, he's going to create a digital currency system."
Yeah,
Oh, it's like, no, he's the Antichrist. And she goes, "What's that?" Well, Revelation.
might want to look into it.
Yeah, it's like they're looking at you like you got two heads, and it's like,
I
it's not
know.
me. This has been foretold. I'm just showing, again, somebody like myself who studied the symbolism. I can kind of hone in and be like, all right, we had Corona. That's the top of their tree.
Yeah,
Bottom is known as X. Now, who do we know that's close to a guy that was connected to a Corona and also is affiliated with X?
yeah. Most
G.
people have no idea about that level of
Right, play Jeopardy
understanding of
theme.
it.
And it's like, this is it, guys. It's, again, it's not me. I'm just going. I think we can
I'm
make a
just a
pretty
messenger.
healthy guess, yeah,
Mhm.
that this is where we're at. And I'm sorry to tell you, he lied to you about your diagnosis.
Yeah.
No, he
I'm sorry
did.
to
He
tell you,
tried
he's
to
not
cure
that
me.
working for you.
Right. It's well, dude, that's just like the cancer thing. They
Mhm.
create the aspect of cancer to be had.
Yeah.
And then we could go to Mexico and everybody gets that cure. No, instead we're resurrecting dire wolves before we figure out the technology for how to cure cancer, right? Or
Yeah.
what if they are creating the solution now with the AI Larry Ellis
Yeah.
program, and
Mhm.
it's like, oh, there's the solution. And
Yep.
again, what happened? Created the problem, created the solution. And
Yep.
this does fulfill Revelation 18:23. Voice of the bridesmaid and groom was heard no longer in thee, because the rich men of the earth, the merchants of the earth, the nations were deceived by their pharmakia, sorceries.
Yeah.
Big pharma? Again, do you not think we're kind of close to there when Gates is saying we're gonna have a second, thing
Yeah.
coming up? And
Yeah, and I don't know. That's why I wish there was a meter. I wish there was an awakening meter or conscious of the situation. It would be so nice to see like where we're at. Maybe even some type of a gauge. Parts of the earth that need more work. You send the missionaries in there. Hey, here's some real missionary work, like awakening up to what's really going on. The Hegelian Dialectic, Cloward Piven, all these programs they're running constantly on all the CIA mind control propaganda. It's like, okay, you need help. You need schooling. you
Well,
know.
that's part of the problem. Is yes, I'm not denouncing the Bible is the ultimate authority. The problem is everybody's over here like, well, should we really even bother to dig into evil or that symbolism or that conspiracy stuff? Yes,
Sure.
because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, worldly governors,
Yeah.
right? We need to know how they think. I send you out as sheep among wolves, or I think that's what he said, paraphrasing, but something to that
Yeah.
premise. Be ye
Yeah.
wise as serpents, not to be them, because like with Ephesians 5:11, expose fruitless deeds of darkness. This is what we are called to do,
Yeah.
but people, I think this is part of the problem of the grooming in the church aspect. People don't want to go out or see people go out there and do it. They just want to come in. Again, it's just like work. I did my 40 hours for the week, 70 hours, whatever they.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
go to church for about 2 hours. I'm a good person. Go back home.
Yeah.
There is no again because you're working for the system at this rat race that they've created for you. You don't know there's anything outside of this. And when you're confronted, yeah, like this is pretty dark out here. This is stuff that's going on. That irritates them because then they start thinking, or that little, like I was talking to my buddy Jack, that
Hmm.
automatically makes them go, you're telling me I'm not doing anything. And there's like this little subtle thing in the back of their head that's going, yeah. And it kind of sucks that you don't know how to do anything. It kind of sucks that you're not actually fighting back. You have me. And again,
Hmm.
it's like that little golem.
Yeah.
You need to shut him up. You're stupid. She's ruining you.
Yep.
And then you turn on your friend
Yeah.
because that little ring of holding you into this world, ring a little ring of fire, it is telling you don't let him keep talking because he's the problem.
Yeah.
Focus on your precious, the things of this world, and not on what the end of this destination is supposed to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think you know thinking takes brain power and researching takes time and effort, and it's much
Yeah.
easier to just sit there in front of the TV. That's why, once you see them throwing all of these shows and the Netflix and the Hulu and the Kardashians, it's just entertainment 24/75, 24/7, 365 to numb you out and bliss you out. It's a drug. And
Mm,
they don't want people to think. They don't want people to go research. They want to just keep them in this kind of hypnotic state where they're
mind
primed.
control.
It's what's that?
Mind control.
Mind control. Yeah, where they're
When you
just
do
in
speak, you
this.
defend. And you don't even
Yes,
understand that you're defending it's Stockholm syndrome.
it is.
It's again, I cannot help it. It's like you're getting slapped around, beaten, and everything, and everybody's telling you get out of this ring and get some help, call the police, dude. Then again, I'm saying
Yep.
like you get some help.
Abusive relationship.
Somebody else beat him up. Get another man to help. Fix the
Yeah.
situation. This was again why men were supposed to have a say in who your daughter's going to marry. Because if he does something like
You have to
that,
vet them. Hmm.
again, like all the way up to the Godfather, I'll go over there and personally smack him around for hurting
Yeah.
my sister, right? Because there is
Yeah.
this protective thing of I don't like people that are going to abuse somebody that's not intended to be abused, right? They are literally just trying to contribute some good into your life, and you're going to, you know, and that's what we feel like.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
government is not your friend. Yes, they
Yeah.
are. They gave me this program. Yes, to
Hmm.
make you dependent on them. And this is what my dad was doing with one of my sisters. He was buying her appliances to buy her silence. I said, he didn't do that
Mm.
with all the rest of the kids. I said, what do you see? I didn't even think about that. And again, this is almost 10 years past the fact. I said, yeah.
Sure.
So this is what the government is doing, is saying, well, they gave us a road. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
real crappy road. Now they're sending all this other money to go bomb somebody else's road in their country. Do you see?
Yeah.
It's like they do bare minimum for us.
Yeah.
They're milking us dry, and you're over here saying they're still good for me. No,
Yeah.
they're not,
How,
and
what
that's
would
the
we do
saddest
without
thing.
them?
Hey,
What would, yeah,
right?
where would we be? Well, I don't know, but I'm willing to take a chance. Let's take a chance and let's see what's, and at what cost? I mean, what, I think and it's outrageously expensive. I want to say like 3 times as much to have the government do something as
Individual.
just individual do it. I mean, maybe even more, but it's outrageously expensive. The inefficiencies are huge, but people get it indoctrinated into, oh, we need them, we need them, we need them. Wow, if you knew what they were taking off your plate, that's the thing. If people truly knew the cost of what inflation, the hidden tax of inflation, what the Federal Reserve did, that their government handed over that right to the Federal Reserve, the theft. But again, you dumb down the masses, public education and media and the culture, they'll never ask the question. They'll just, like you said, they'll be frogging hot water going, oh, it's getting hot in here. Why is it so hot in here? And then they'll never really understand unless they, go and investigate. It's crazy.
I think that's the other half of the reason is they make entertainment cheap, they make knowledge expensive. Like for
Yes.
you and me, I don't know
Yes.
about you, some books I'm seeing 34 bucks,
Yeah.
40 something bucks for this. Again, one of the big ones, I'm like 200 something
Oh
minimum.
yeah. The good stuff is
It's like,
it's
guys, could you throw me a couple extra bucks because I'll read this for you and tell you what
wild.
it says because like this and now I was reading a whole bunch of stuff that YouTube's going to start censoring 9/11 conspiracy theories, and
Oh
they're going to start
really?
censoring conspiracy theories in general in the algorithm. And I'm over
Shit.
here going, this is aligning with what the UN was saying is that they're going to start going after people who are conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Like, but why? What's the problem? Why is again the United Nations? Why do all of them? And I think there's a verse in the Bible that the nations conspire, right? Yeah, well, why? Because they're all doing clandestine things in dark corners of society.
Mhm.
They have wars because both sides benefit off of it, whether you realize it or not. And you, the little minion, the little plebe in all of this, you're cannon fodder. You're
Yeah.
expendable. And they're
Yeah.
telling you, I care for you, right? They always mask themselves as a populace, right? And the populace will always play on patriotism, right? You love your country, right? Right? You don't love your
Mhm.
country, you wouldn't love me because I'm one of those people that I really love this country. And it's like Trump with, again, this is an example, $92 million parade for your birthday, a military parade,
Yeah.
but we still have veterans that are missing ligaments that are still living
Yeah.
on the streets, and you're cutting away stuff from the VA.
Wild.
Again, this is
Wild.
me. If this was Biden, does he sound like he cares about you?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
no. That makes him look good. And he says, I care about you. Right? And this is why sometimes I like a movie that's talking about this person saying, I just don't agree with any of the things up there. Why?
Hmm.
Because you're finally saying, I can't kiss butt anymore. Because all the
Yeah.
times that I kneeled before you, you didn't do anything for me. You always made yourself look good for things that I did for you. And I'm done with that.
Yeah. Yeah. People, given enough time, people get played, you know, they will wake up. It's just how many times. That's why I always joke.
Yeah.
I always say, fool me once, fool me 5,782 times. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 5,782 times, because that's probably what it took me to wake up. I mean, I didn't have a huge awakening until COVID time, and they've been gaming me. I've been right there with the masses going, oh, I guess we had the 2008 collapse. I guess there's a problem in the market, not knowing Larry Fink in on it, not knowing the government set up these rules and regulations. Then once you dig beneath the surface, you're like, oh, you got me again. You fooled me again. And they're doing it again right now. This is why there's so many people exposing again what these private equity firms are doing, in the market. They're gaming up another collapse to make it look like, oops, so bad. I guess we got to sweep all the assets because we can't let the government fail or the institutions fail. So we're gonna have to take all your assets. I mean, like
Hmm.
if people don't see it by now, I'm like, okay,
We
five
got to
thousand
take the
seven
low
eighty-two times.
guys'
Yeah,
assets as
because
opposed to going after the big
he's
corporations' assets. And again, well, that's
it's
socialism. We go
so
after the
wild.
corporations.
It's
No,
so
well, no,
wild.
the
It's
corporations
theft.
are
Yeah,
funding your government with lobbying, right?
yeah,
Any lobbying, especially APAC, but lobbying in general. And you're saying, no, no, that's socialism. If we go after those guys, we need to go after the average person, and
yeah,
yeah, them too, but not as bad because if we didn't have the corporations, we wouldn't have jobs, right? Well, do you really always kind of want to keep working for them? What about mom and
yeah,
pops? It's like 1 minute you're advocating, we need to support mom and pops. Next minute you're expanding Jeff Bezos' Amazon. So which one is
mhm,
it you want? And as you
yeah,
said, because one person keeps contributing to it, and doesn't just walk away, that's what
Mhm.
keeps the lie going.
Yeah.
So you verbally say, this is good, this is what we should be doing, this is what we should be supporting, but then you keep supporting the guy with your actions, right?
That's hurting you
Right. It's
under the
like
table. Gee.
it was like, so when I think for then again, I was trying to explain this to my birth mom because I said, right now I feel intellectually alone, I feel sexually alone, I feel peer range alone, because
Mhm.
I am trying, I guess is the best way, like you and myself. I'm trying to be a humanitarian, whether it's domestically trying to break down for you, you're being lied to. Whether it's in the Middle East, I'm trying to be like sympathizing for this group over here, or even on our a border, right? I'm advocating for the people that can't speak for themselves because they're not here at the
Yeah.
moment. Once in a while, I'll try to reach out and talk to people who are in this field. So it comes into your timeline of, oh crap, I never heard it like that. Yeah, because your Fox or CNN or whoever didn't put that in your programming for today, right? It wasn't part of the listings. Whereas that's what I'm trying to do, is be that mitigating voice of reason. And I was telling her, I said, it's very lonely when you dedicate your time and compassion to a matter that most people don't even bother want to look into. And then you, because you're not on the left or right, take the stones from that. You're not part of a denomination, so you get the stones from that. You're not part of the official narrative, so you get the stones from that. And at a certain point, it's not that I think, I'm better than all of you. It's just, do you know why I'm doing the things that I'm, and I'm doing it out of love. At a certain point, it's quite daunting because no, your peers don't want you. And then
No.
going in a dating thing, most of them aren't even somewhat aware of what's going on. So it's like, okay, well, that's not going to
Yeah.
work. And you become lonelier and lonelier and
Yeah.
lonelier. But it's also at a certain point where it's like, I think this is the best thing because
This
it,
is my fate.
this is, it's my fate because I got caught up in a
Yeah.
whirlpool of truth. And I'm not trying to be like, it's not a puffed up sense, dude. It's literally just, please come and join me. Please, again, follow me. I'll make you fishers of men. And to be
Right.
doers, right? You got to cast the net. I'm just giving you some advice. Isn't that what
Mhm.
Christ did?
Yeah.
But because you took the advice, a miracle occurred. Because you listened to what the word said, right? You weren't leaning on your own understanding. There's no fish out there today. You were saying, you know what? The word tells me to do something. I'm going to get up and do it. Then he
Yeah.
makes me an offer. Follow me, and I'll show you how to go after fish, fisher of men. Do we understand it at the time? No, but sometimes you have to follow the
Yeah.
journey, trying to decipher the
Walk
parable.
on faith kind of a thing.
Right, and then you learn to walk on water, and you start getting it. But it's very
Hmm.
lonely once you do start getting it. And I think that's
Yeah.
part of the thing. Some people, they're so used to the pretentious pleasantries and the superficialness of society. This is what they know, and so lonely, that doesn't sound like fun. I want to
Mm.
be popular like the movie star.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did they look happy? I
Yeah.
want to be wealthy like the billionaire. But are they happy? And are they doing good for the world? Most of them aren't, and the ones that do, time and time
Yeah.
again, dude.
Well, everything's inverted in this twisted world, like you say, the most socially popular people, all the Hollywood stars. It's pretty widely known now that there is a lot of psychological issues, a lot of trauma, a lot of therapy needed in there, and a lot of pill popping and a lot of alcohol abuse in order to live that supposed
Prostitute.
dream. And people are waking up to it. They're kind of divesting. I myself don't watch Hollywood movies anymore because I know what they are and I know what they're intended to do, and that fear promoting and anger inducing and anxiety inducing. And I think I see a lot of other Americans too. I mean, look how much money Disney was supposedly losing, and they're kind of divesting, but everything's kind of inverted. And like, well, once you see all these richest men in the world, Elon and Jeff Bezos, and then you realize, oh, what's behind the curtain? Oh, don't look behind the curtain. That's just the money that funds those people. And like, well, I thought they were the richest men. No, these people behind the curtain, they have infinite money. It's
Hmm.
just so fake. It's so fake, you know?
It's like, I think when I was a kid, there's always that fear when you're playing the game in Monopoly, the person who's in charge of the bank, how do you know they're not smuggling money to
Yes.
Again, I know it's a funny little trope, but it's like once in a while you start going, you sure you're not hiding a 500 behind you?
You seem to
A
always
couple,
have a little money. What are you
yeah.
doing?
It's like I thought you were broke when you went around, Parks Avenue
Yeah,
a couple times, and you're like, nah, I
yeah,
still got money. And I think that's kind of where the world is at. As long as you keep chasing the carrot on the stick until you fall off the cliff, nobody's going to really notice it. And because they're so busy looking at the carrot and not the person in front of them chasing after the right. So
yeah,
this Pied Piper mentality is I'm going to just keep going. I don't care where you go
yeah,
until you fall off of the cliff yourself. And even then, dude, it's kind of like boom, 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 boom. You're falling, but you're still saying, "Oh, don't worry, he's gonna fix me before I hit the bottom. It's going okay." And you're still
yeah,
falling. You're not doing anything to get firm footing for yourself. And I think, dude, people have been again with sheeple.
hmm,
They, they have been groomed to the point of if I stand up for myself, that's a problem because I am then taking responsibility. I am now saying I am accountable for myself. And when you finally get to that point, that's scary because that means you're now
hmm,
ready to leave the nest.
yeah,
And
yeah,
when you leave the nest, that means you have to learn how to do your first little flight from jumping out of the nest, right?
hmm,
And you're so used to mommy bird flying over, dropping a worm in your mouth every freaking morning.
hmm,
Like I've seen mom do it, but I don't want to take off the training wheels.
yeah,
And I'm laughing because a lot of us are thinking like this and are, oh yeah, yeah, when are you gonna learn to grow up, man up, and do it for yourself? And then they go and keep doing the same thing that their
yeah,
parents did, right?
yeah,
And keep funneling the system. Keep sending your kids to school. Keep doing this. Keep doing
yeah,
that. It's like, do you see what you're raising comrades for the state,
yeah.
right?
Well, and many parents are waking up to that. They're like, oh, you know, I don't know my child. They're 17. I don't know them. And I'm like, well, yeah, the government raised your child. The school system raised your child because you bought the lie that you need to go to work. You both need to work 40 plus hours a week. And then of course I mean, I look around, I'm like, what's the point of even having kids if you don't even raise them? From
Mm,
4 to 18, and then they go to college, and then it's even worse. I mean, who is that child? It's a totally different. They don't. Do they have your values? Do they have your perspective of the world? Probably not. You know,
well,
it's wild when you see it.
it's sad, but somebody got upset when I posted this, but it was an old, I think early 1900 something clip of two guys dueling, right? And they're playing it really fast, black and white and stuff like that. It was a real clip, one of the last duels or first the last duels caught on camera. He said it was such a barbaric act, and I'm like, to an extent, um, but like fencing, right? Or even the idea of defending yourself physically with a test, right? Like, oh, we're gonna find out if you're telling the truth, so put your hand over a fire. Yada, yada. Like, granted, I know some
Mhm.
of it's a little bit superstitious, hokey pokey, but it's the concept of I'm willing to stand up and fight for what I believe, put tongue to steel. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to
Mhm.
back up with what I say. And the concept of the shirt was make dueling great again.
Ah,
And it's kind of that premise where, again, I think both you and I have mentioned this, and I was just doing a show with Victor, and I was laughing because I was like, yeah, that's the same analogy that we just used.
yeah.
We're two old guys. We're smoking the tobacco by the fire. You're welcome to come and join our conversation if you want to. You don't have to. Play it in the background. Again, it's you don't have to agree with us. The fact is that we're getting the gears going and we're processing what's going on in our world today. And I think this is we don't have the thing where dads teach men what it, or their kid what is it to be a man. Well, I'll give you the one-on-one talk, right? And now you're getting what it is to be a man by like if you're like in Chicago, well, I joined a gang because I can't find a dad figure in my life,
Yep.
right? If you're again like when they're doing the drug running in the 1980s, that was a part of that was, well, I need to make extra money and the government's treating me like crap, so how do I fix that problem, right? So and then women, it's like, always treat your woman perfectly, but no one never, I rarely see it. And when you do see these ladies do it, they're all the feminists are trashing on them. How do you treat a man?
Mhm.
We're not teaching what it is. Like, what is your gift with the gender or the right? And now we're saying, oh, what is your gender? Right? It's all up in the air. And there is no refinement of individualism of finding who you are. And I'm not saying like, oh, tune in and find your no.
Right.
What I'm saying is finding who you are by cultivating the gifts. Like if I notice you're a writer, my kid, you know how to play an instrument. I heard you one time and I was like, wow, I want to cultivate that. So maybe you'll go out and be one of the next big things with knowing
Yeah.
how to do instruments. Cool. If maybe I see you happen to be a little bit like the nifty kid. That every time I was looking at you when you were 3 or 4, you're tinkering around like my buddy. His kid is tinkering around with metallic objects. I said, I think she's going to be a mechanic. So what is it?
Hmm.
You see something there, and you want to start cultivating what you think. Again, I'm not an idiot, but like I can kind of see where this could be going, and we don't train that. We
Mm-mm.
just put them right in the government system from what 8 to 3. What is it, 7 to 8? I don't know. Whatever the school, sorry, says 7 to
Sometimes four, you mean like, well, if you go into preschool, I think you can go in four, or when you
four
say three,
hours.
well, I mean, 4 years old, some 4 or 5,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I
And then we
mean,
just throw them in there, and then you lose it. You
you
lost the
lose them.
kid.
Well, it's like you said just a moment ago, when something to the effect of when the kids go in, and yeah, they go in, and they're there 8 hours a day, and then mom and dad are at work 8 hours a day, and then how are you gonna communicate? Oh, you were talking about that fathers don't have the conversation with their sons. Now we're multiple generations in. Our fathers came through the system. Granted, it was earlier in time,
Right.
but the system only gets more refined, only gets more
Polished.
effective, more polished, or more effective at indoctrinating these kids. And now you got kids that are totally lost. And I feel for kids. He said kids are so lost. Some of them are going, I was born a boy, but maybe I'm a girl. That's how lost they are. They've completely inverted it. It's so sad, you know.
And
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 it and that's why it's an all hands on deck kind of a situation. Everything's there again. People some generally wake up when the house is so on fire that you
mm,
feel it and smell it and hear it, and then you're like, oh, house is on fire. you know, better wake up.
where's the exit? That's why I've been pointing at it for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, like the alarm's been going off, and that's why as it gets again back to the water, hot frog and hot water, gets hotter and hotter. People are waking up going, okay, I don't care what you think of me. I don't care if you're going to hate me. We have a problem in our society and culture and world. And if you don't want to deal with it, that's on you. But I'm compelled to tell you, we have a situation,
Right,
you know?
right. And I think we can start veering into solutions.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think part of the thing is one, homeschooling is definite, and I don't
Yeah,
know how close we are to the end, but like I would emphasize really start taking those one-on-ones,
yeah.
right? Really
Uh,
start moving towards a I'm not afraid to have this talk. There's a lot of beef I have with my dad, but there's one thing he did say that was right: is when they're old enough to think up a question, they're old enough to think up the answer, to have an answer.
mm,
And just getting a little bit of that even mentality going is okay. Um, I'm gonna tell you about something that's going on in the world. Like I was, I think I'm not sure if I read it or I was watching something, but they said it's kind of up to the man to tell their kid of the dark stuff that's going on in the world. It's the woman's job to help nurture and make them feel a little bit better. But it's kind of the guy to pull them aside and say, "Hey, it's a little bit nasty out there, and we don't need to tell mom exactly about what's going on, right?" And
mhm.
part of that is just saying my purpose is to help provide protection, and sometimes I have to do that violently behind the scenes. Not that I advocate
Mhm.
it, but I'm saying there's certain instances where it's like you're not going to understand why I'm doing the things I'm doing, but as a man, right, that we're supposed to have a little of that testosterone, that protective quality of this might not be something you want to be a part of, right?
Yeah, look away.
Right. And then to veer into the feminine aspect of things, there was a lady I was getting upset because I was defining. I says people like myself, it's either red hats or blue hairs or they're single mothers. Not that that's wrong, but a lot. I'm saying statistically, the instances are starting to become overwhelming. Where he was a narcissist, he was a this, he was a
Yeah,
that, and I'm
the
sitting there going,
problem's out there. Yeah,
right. It's like that was him. This is me. Can we hit the reset button?
yeah.
Know that I'm not him. But this is what we always bring again. This is what I have to go up against, right? And I'm trying to still do as best I can, not perfect, but like
Mhm.
still do the best I can to live properly for relationships. And they took it personal, says, "Oh, you have a disdain for women." No, but I understand, again, there's a divorce aspect there. And I said, I don't have a disdain for women. What I'm talking about for my peer range, this is sadly where I'm at. Where
Yeah.
it's, instead of finding somebody that's single, hasn't been slipping around for a bit, it's always plus one, or they're part of a political identity crisis. That's not me, right? I'm not here
Mhm.
to nurture those things. I want to make sure that if you're coming into my circle, you're going to give me the authority to lead. Or again, I want to give me that
Mhm.
permission to do what a man is supposed to do. You want masculine, you want somebody, again, I'm not saying a
Mhm.
dictator. I'm saying you want someone who's going to do what they're supposed to do, what God gave them the
Yeah.
edict to do. I want to do that. I'm willing to take that responsibility. And I think because people are now saying, I want to do that, I'm not saying there's not an extreme cult with like some of the orthodoxy aspects. What I'm saying is that there are some men saying, I want to do what God has designed me to do, right? And I want you to do what a woman is designed to do. And that is nurture the home. That is to nurture the family, to take care of the kids. Why? Because I don't have the gift of dealing with little, again,
Yeah.
3 to 6 years, 1 to 6. It's a little bit too much for me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Why? Because sometimes a woman is focused a little bit better at getting them
Oh,
past that point,
sure.
and I'll admit it.
Sure.
It's not my area of expertise. I like getting with the intellectual aspect of, or helping. Once you're past the kid stage, I'll be goofy, but then I'll start cultivating you towards something that will educate you, right?
Mhm.
So anyway,
Yeah.
what's your 2 cents on what else to
So
contribute?
of solutions. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because my I like to keep things simple, and my solution is to, and I'm doing this in my own life, and I tell other people in videos, I say, cut as many cords as you can that connect you to the system, whether, like you said, education system, like you have to realize, I tell parents, you have to realize that the education system is doing your child no favors. If anything, it took me 30 years probably to purge out and unlearn all the stupid things that I learned, mostly the social conditioning, like may I, kind of those things. Education system isn't doing anyone any favors, and especially once the system, the grander system, broader system, collapses. Your educated kid, and I see it on the faces of kids now. This is one of the reasons why I'm so big on purpose and mission and returning to, like you said, the talents God gave you. Like the old system, it's done. The new world that is emerging parallel to the old system is, what are your gifts and talents, and you go all in on those. Like you
Mm,
said, are you an artist? Are you a chef? Are you an orator? Are you a mechanic? Are you mechanic? Everyone has a gift or a talent. And right now in the emerging world, you got to go all in on your talents, like 10x that. So I'm a big fan of getting out of the education system, getting out of the financial system to the degree that you can, because once we know it's going to collapse again, we know, especially financial, getting out of the healthcare system to the degree that you can, acquiring medicinal knowledge, right? Even whether it be, herbal things or oils and supplements and diet, and that's the true health, and preventative measures too, because one, it is cost prohibitive to go into the medical system. I don't care who you are. You have to be a multimillionaire to, to go into the medical system. So education, financial, healthcare system. There's one more than a food system.
mm,
My thing is just get as self-reliant as you can be, and out of these systems. And I'm not the only one preaching this, because I think a lot of people are realizing those systems are corrupted. They were never designed to help us. They were only designed to indoctrinate us and to enslave us. So I just cut as many cords as I can off those systems. And then it takes a while. It could take years, but it's the most worthy thing, that's my solution. Um, and it's different for everybody, but
no, and I think you're right, and that's why I was chuckling with this whole Maha thing, Mayha Maha, whatever.
yeah, they are to save the day again, or we're going to help you. I'm like, oh, I'm so over it.
Like, do I need you? Because like the only reason you need him is if you're still going to fast food and all this other stuff, right? Right. In
Yeah,
theory, if you're not even familiar with all the how they get their meats. Um,
right.
it's like, so if that is what you're telling me, it's just like, well, you're not ready to cut ties yet because you still have
Yeah, you're still looking for a hero,
right, or just
be
one
the
guy in the
hero.
administration to fix it, one guide. I'm like, what do you need him for? Do it yourself. And there's some
Yes.
people I'm like, whether it's like even in the military, I'm like, I would try to get out before it's too bad because they're going to start forcing
Yeah.
you whether you're National Guard, whether you're actual, deployed, they're going to start forcing you to start doing some of these edicts and or to go to a
Yeah.
war. Are you willing
Yeah.
to walk away? And I'm seeing a lot of people that's over here like, well, you're still defending your border. So how am I supposed to tell you that what you're about to do for the, national security or defense, you're doing it
Hmm.
for the wrong reasons, and they're using you to do it for them.
Yeah, people are tools to them. Everyone is a
Right.
tool to them.
And I'm not, I don't know, we got to come up with something. I mean, we had Blexit and all this stuff, but it's like we need to have a thing where it's again countercultural. If we did have a logo, it's like a salmon. We're always going up
Yeah,
against
yeah, swim against the stream.
yeah, it's going against the stream because again, and that's almost, I'm not saying rebirth, but it's like you're doing it for the next generation. That's why you're
Yes.
where you are, because you need to lay the eggs, and then the process starts again.
Hmm.
And some of you might die in doing so, and
Sure.
grizzly bears and stuff like that wait
Sure.
for you. But that's not the point. The point is I'm doing what I'm told to do for the kingdom of
Hmm.
heaven, and
Hmm.
it's what I'm called to do. And because you're going countercultural, he can't catch everyone, right?
Mm-mm.
But some of us have to do that. We have to be that sacrifice,
Yep. Or the
or else,
lighthouse.
right? Or again, somebody sees you do it and they're like, well, I could do that too, right?
Yeah.
Just again, you're a
Set the
home remedy
example.
person. You make home remedies and you make this. And again, I support that all the time whenever
I
I
know
can
you do.
afford it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, salve, a balm, or tallow, sure. I'm all about that. If I
Yeah.
could be part of a community immediately with that kind of thing, if I had a wife, I'd support it 110%.
Yeah.
Why? Because that's natural, right? It's a natural little thing as opposed to going into the, business world with a
Yeah.
tuck suit and you
The
have to
far,
move
yeah, the
around. And it's like,
multinational corporation,
yeah.
it's like, come
I'm like,
on.
no, a little ponytail and do your thing around. Like I support that. And it's the natural, I was trying to say like, a tree hugging thing, but I'm saying it's getting natural with this is stuff that God has designed for your body, and learning how
Hmm.
to implement it, how to utilize this stuff without going to these things that have made corporate medical symbol, corporate food symbol, corporate um just corporate everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it all funnels back into the oligarchs and to the
Right.
people who run it, which, and the irony is their products and services don't work anyways.
Yeah.
They just create more problems and there's synthetics in there. But it takes once you wake up to it and you're like, oh, not only am I paying for this, but it's hurting me too. It's like a double whammy. You win twice.
That's
Or
just like the government.
yeah.
Yeah. They win twice. It's like you voted for me, and then I tell you I'm going to fix the problem. It's like, well, how's that going for us just 3 months in? There's no such thing as freedom of speech.
Yeah.
There's no such. It's
Again,
like,
it's the dangling carrot, perpetual dangling carrot. Oh, here it is.
well, they have you chasing how you're jumping up, dangling after the carrot. They rip the rug out from under you when you're
Yeah.
jumping back down, and then you
Yeah.
fall, and you're like, well, that's not so bad. You get back up, and they keep laughing at you.
They're
Like this
laughing all
clown
the
is
way to the
still
bank.
chasing the stupid carrot.
Yeah.
He's never gonna reach it, but we could do all the pranks we want to him, and he doesn't get it.
Mm-mm.
And yeah.
Mm-mm.
So, anyways, I think
But yeah, go ahead.
the other aspect of walking away is I think you got to start not necessarily living off grid, but definitely cultivate a community of like-minded
Yes.
people.
Yes, yes, yes.
And even if you have to meet them online, maybe they're a state away, maybe they're 2 hours away,
But it's
just
still, you can share knowledge, you can share, ideas.
intel. And then
Yep.
again, it's just like, well, they do trade. Yeah, this is kind of where we need to start getting back to is barter and trade.
Yep.
If we could pitch that, it's like again, I'm meeting people online that I've never met. Some countries I'll probably never be, thanks to Real
Hmm.
ID. Woohoo! Um,
Yep.
but it's the aspect that we are willing to go across a border, a state border, line, whatever, call it what you will, um, and to just start connecting. Because what they have us do is we're funneled into going into the buildings they design for us, whether that's the church, whether it's the grocery store, whether it's the public school education system. Whereas we should start doing, and not saying buildings are evil. What I'm saying is we should need to start cultivating communities where I'm willing to travel, even if it's just once a month, to get to know other people that are thinking like me, especially at the
Hmm.
age and time that we're in now. Have a
Yeah.
book study, and I'm saying like a real book study, as in like talks about the heavy stuff, right?
Good books, really
Right.
good books. Yeah.
Cross reference. There's some community things I've seen like online where everybody, they'll put the they'll rent a movie from a little cupboard thing. It's like a community. Everybody will put in a couple
Mm-hmm.
of DVDs. Do the same thing with books.
Yeah.
A nice little dry
Yeah.
area. Build your own community library. It doesn't need to be funded by the state.
Mm-hmm.
And again, burn books is like, no, this is just what we do. You want to go and
Mm-hmm.
talk? Let's go over here. If you have like a lot of acreage, think about building a shack,
Yeah.
and just this is where we have a Bible meeting. This is where we have a potluck, right? And we just have like a homeschooling session here. Um, the adults talk about this stuff, and the kids can all, I think creating these natural communities as opposed to being funneled towards a 15-minute city, this is what we need to start pushing again. This is how you
Mm-hmm.
start being countercultural, because it's so micro and you're like, well, that's not going to really change anything, that just sounds stupid and boring. No, you're building connections, and if there's
Yeah.
people like you and me, you're in Idaho, I'm in Connecticut, you think there's not
Mm-hmm.
somebody within a 2 hour radius of you that's not thinking likewise?
Yeah.
And if you're Christian, maybe you can even help them a little bit more because they're truth, but they're trying to, right? They
Mm-hmm.
want to see it lived, not just talked about. So maybe them inviting them again, trial basis. If they're always causing a problem, be like, I guess this isn't really the thing. You'll find your people, but because we're so scared, like, oh, like it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's coming. Well, yeah, it's gonna happen. What are you gonna do in the meantime? You try to reach out to some people. They
Yeah.
might be your FEMA buddy, so it can get to know
Yeah.
you
You never
now
know.
before you
You
can go
never
to El
know.
Salvador.
Well, and more and more people are talking about it. Even people that are deeply ingrained, like I was just in the hospital recently, and two of the nurses of like the five that I talked to all were super awake to
Nice.
diet and nutrition, and the one was super awake, and she was just, and it was weird because it kind of took me back. I was like, how do you work in this system? Being awake, and do you ever get talked to? Like, do you ever in your evaluations are you like, scolded, stop being so awake? I mean, so when they're so awake, they're openly discussing things that you and I would discuss. I'm like, holy crap, this is wild to watch. But and I guess
Real.
it does. This real. I mean, pinching myself, like, is this really happening? So people are waking up. I think COVID did wake up more people than we thought. I don't know.
To a certain degree, I think some people woke up to the um what do you call it? The more known corporation funneling, but
Hmm.
they didn't wake up to the political
Yeah.
aspect. And
Okay.
again, as I'm saying, if both rounds woke you up all the more, good. If only one round woke you up, again, some yes,
Yeah.
some no. That's what I'm saying. You have to kind of wake up to both of them. If you wake up to both, the Hegelian dialectic, because
Hmm.
let's face it, statistically, pandemic heavily emphasized the blue cart, whereas the 2024 election was the red cart.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
now it's coming to a point that says, okay, so red and blue didn't fix it for you. You got to be somewhere purple at this point, right?
Hmm. Or divest from all of it.
Just events from all right,
Maybe
yeah.
that's what you define as purple. Yeah, I don't know.
Purple or even the centrist of going, yeah, that didn't work for me, right?
Yeah,
And again,
neither side's working for me.
purple is royal, right? So
Hmm.
as a Christian, right, you're
Yeah,
going
good
for the
point.
robes of heaven, the white robes. But I'm saying purple is in. I've kind of understood now. You guys both been lying to me, like
Yeah.
the Easter Bunny, like the Santa Claus, and
Hmm.
I'm kind of looking at you both going, I can't trust you. And you've lost me. Again, even saying that it's okay to lie to a kid. It's just fake. It's make believe.
It's fun.
But where did it come from to make believe if you're pitching, right?
Yeah. And what does it mean? Do you know the deeper meaning? No.
Right, and then you're like, well, it wasn't that bad. But you lied to him.
I know,
Really,
it's so weird.
five to something. I don't know when they break the clause of telling you about Santa Claus and all this stuff.
Right.
Because I grew up in a household that was just against it, but again against it
Oh, good for you. That's
because
interesting.
it was pagan, but never an explanation as to
Okay.
why it was
So
pagan.
you're
So it's
still
kind
confused.
well, it's kind of like, are we really cutting it out because it's pagan? Or are we trying to save on the budget? I'm leaning on the budget, but it sounds good when you say it's pagan,
That's so
right?
funny.
And then again, that's where
Right.
I get it. I get it with some people. And this is where I'm saying it's not, oh, I know Brandon's going to get upset if I say this. But no, it's not me. I'm just telling you what God says. And I'm showing the anthropology of what they were doing and what they're
Hmm.
still doing to even more extreme degrees. So it's not me that's
Yeah.
giving a message. I'm just delivering it for the big guy. And you're thinking it's me. No,
Yeah.
it's,
You're taking it out on me.
well, right. It's like, I'm just saying I think that's the thing, dude. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but the aspect of what a prophet or a Christian is your heart starts aligning so much with Christ that you start to
Mm.
hate the things that God hates,
You
right?
know him so well. You're like, oh, God hates this. I hate it
Or not know him so well, but you understand his heart, because you'll never know the mind
better
of
than I
God.
guess. Yeah, I
God,
guess
to
I
know
should
the
say
mind of
better.
God is Satanism, but to say you know
Okay.
God's heart, that's to
Hmm.
understand his word.
Yes, good
And you
point.
understand what hurts, again, the prophets who are speaking the word, the disciples who are hearing the words. And again, this is in Ephesians by the apostles and the prophets. This is how we are coming up. I'm like, yeah, because when you understand that, you understand what grieves the Holy Spirit's heart. And that's the gift of
Mm.
the Holy Spirit is discernment, right? Set apart the horned one from your mind. So what that roughly
Hmm.
breaks down etymology wise. I'm like, yeah, I get what hurts you. Father
Hmm.
God, I forgive them, they know not what they do. Or even Jeremiah, why do they not get it? The city is about to be sacked and they're throwing me in the well and they're asking, is there any alternative aside from turning to God in this matter? No, you need to repent to God. And they just don't want to do it.
Because they have
That's
to give up
where,
all their worldly things.
or
Yeah,
stop doing what they're doing. Yeah.
sure.
And they can't do it at the drop of a hat. And again, it's not that I'm better than you. It's just we got to start doing and stop
Hmm.
saying or sitting.
Hmm.
Or even somebody again, stop disliking. Tell me what you dislike. Maybe we can cultivate a whole conversation based off of what you dislike. But you're
Hmm.
too afraid to say anything. You're just saying, makes me angry. This made me upset. I disagree. But you don't ever talk about what you disagree with.
Hmm.
You sit there and you wallow as of the self-righteous, I don't want to rock the boat, but at least I'll contribute something out there. And you didn't do anything.
Hmm.
Well, imagine you drive past somebody and you just go like this. The whole like
Yeah.
every time you see something you just don't like, you're just like the pastor's preaching.
Yeah.
What's your problem? What's your
Yeah.
beef? You don't say anything. You just go thumbs down. Say something, okay? Because
Why? Critique it, whatever.
critique, or because
Now,
to critique is to help build up. Like I was reading.
yes.
I was actually, it was a Hawaiian pastor, and it's similar because again, like domestic, and then going out community, and then going out into your culture. And he was saying, if you want to find out how selfish you are, get married.
Mm,
Because what is it ultimately? Marriage is tearing down each other's walls and building it back up together so you're
mm.
twice as strong, right?
That's a good idea.
And
Yeah.
it's not to beat them up or put them down. It's just saying, oh wow, you really it's like putting a saddle on a stallion.
Yeah. How
You rode
much
me
can you
down.
give up?
Now I
Yeah.
love this ride.
And let
Why?
go.
Because
Yeah.
I wouldn't picture doing this ride with anybody else. I trust you. And again, with a
Hmm.
horse, what do you get for it? I'm going to shave your nails and make sure you got hoofs now. I'm going to make sure you're
Hmm.
fed wild oats. I'm going to make sure, right? I care for you. You may
Right.
not like it, but domesticated horses tend to live 20 years, I think, longer than it was the
Oh,
wild
sure.
stallions, from what I was
Sure.
reading. You may not like it for a time, but it ends up being a benefit for you
Hmm.
if you submit to it.
It's a happier life if you get past the, oh, I'm gonna be in a cage and I'm gonna be in a corral, whatever. Yeah, but
Right.
there's, like you said, there's wild oats, there's grass, there's whatever else. Nothing's gonna eat you out in the wild per se.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, that's good. I like that. That's good stuff. Um, all right. Well, any closing thoughts?
I think yeah, that's that I did want to just talk a little bit about that because I see a lot of people, they're not talking about what they're angry or what they disagree with. And I think as opposed to just listening to somebody like you and me and getting upset with that, start your own show
Mm,
instead of not doing anything for the kingdom of heaven and always arguing about left, right, or something like that. Because part of it, what I see, dude, you don't like our conversation because you like what's going on in the culture.
hmm. Sure,
You don't like
sure.
our conversation because you're not at where we're at, or you don't like that we're talking about it. Like, who? Maybe we just don't. We're not sounding off what you want to hear, right? Okay. Maybe we're doing it wrong. We're fallible.
Hmm.
We're human. But at least
Sure.
we said we're going to get together. We're going to put some content out there, and I've taken some screenshots. I've shown you the. Some people are appreciating it. So as
Yeah.
opposed to you just causing a disruption, start doing something. Stop
Hmm.
hanging around online all the time and start doing something out there. Because I'm seeing a lot of folks, as opposed to buying the books like a Robert Greene. or a
Mm-hmm.
double speak book. Pick up both of those if you can, folks. Doesn't matter. Just start a category, anything.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to digging in and trying to learn where we're at and what we are understanding about the world. They just want to keep putting us down. And I'm getting very
Mm-hmm.
tired of that, because for me, it's kind of like, okay, you want me to tie your shoes, but every time I come over, you start kicking, 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 kicking. I can't tie your shoes
Yeah.
anymore. And if you think you
Yeah.
can do it yourself, well, then, okay, big man, you got to bend over and start tying your shoes, because I'm about to leave without you, right? We're about to go in.
Yeah.
And this is where, again, I'm just saying, I've noticed this a little bit of a trend, and I kind of want to nip it in the bud. You may not like that I just said it. I don't care. I got to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
transparent, whereas everybody else, I see you hiding behind a digital screen. Say it. Talk about it.
Yeah.
Do it. I'm getting tired of these little cowards that think they're actually doing something and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
It's very petty, and I think I don't know
Well,
what our
well,
sense are on
y-
that too.
no, I mean, but the way I look at it, the analogy I use, I like your analogy with the kicking of the shoes, and this is fitting to your name of your podcast, Man and Daily Podcast. Yeah,
Mm,
I look at it, and we've talked about this as we're chefs. We go out into the forest and forage the raw materials for food, come home and prepare the show,
mhm.
serve it up, and then you take it to someone and you serve it on a platter, and they tip the platter, and they're like, no, this is stupid. Or I don't want to eat, this is dumb. I don't want to eat this. It is a little bit like, gosh, I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I do this because I care and I want to nourish your mind and body with this, manna. And it's like, oh, I can see after a while that would be they're very frustrating. I can
Yes.
see that, you
Well,
know.
like you said, we're doing this out of a labor of love, because we don't get anything out of it for the
Right.
most
It is, again,
for
yeah,
the
but
most part, and the ones who
yeah,
do,
if you're a Ben
thank you. You
Shapiro or a
cannot.
Charlie Kirk, if you're
Yeah.
plugged into the system, you're going to get a lot out of pushing media that promotes what the system wants. If you're not,
Right.
it's a labor of love for the most part.
Because we're not sponsored. We're not backed by
No,
it. We are supported. It's like PBS.
like I say,
Like
it's
all of them.
countercultural conversations.
Yes.
If you're mainstream, money will flood to you to promote the BS that they want you to buy into. That actually ends up hurting you.
Yes. And that's all we're saying, is just start being wary of the people that are lying to you, because we actually care about you. We're your friends. We're your relatives. Just like with
Hmm.
C-19, we were telling you, it's not me, but did you
Yeah,
bother to watch this
think it
documentary?
through.
Did you look
Yeah,
up this article? Did you
just
read these ingredients?
yeah,
And you're getting mad at me for simply saying, "Could you look behind the curtain with me and see who's controlling
yeah.
the thing in the Wizard of Oz?" I want you to see the man behind the curtain, because then it's not as scary, right? You're not over trembling, going, "Oh, we have to do it for the big curtain guy."
Hmm.
No, it's all smoke and mirrors. Um, yeah, I think that's. I don't know, dude. I genuinely want to see more people doing, as opposed to just
Hmm.
dissing, I guess is the best way
Hmm.
to put it.
Yeah. Well,
Because it's.
I
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well, I was gonna say, I was gonna say, I think because you go so hard and you're so convicted and you're so called to go right in. I mean, you're going with the sword right through the heart of the thing. I mean, you're on the front line. See, I think you're there, so you are going to draw a lot more. Like I don't draw
Ire.
that because ire. You're going to draw a lot more ire because I don't go to that heart like you do. And that's what you were called to do. And this is why I admire you so much, Brandon, because that and I see, like you talked about some of your your lineage and where you come from and the people that are in your historical in your family line. You are playing a different game and you are going to draw more ire. You're going to draw more scoffs. I mean, just because the nature of the fight that you are, you know,
Well,
do you see that? I mean, I'm sure you see that, obviously.
I do,
You
and I
go
was
hard in the
chuckling because
paint.
I didn't know this. I really like Bill Connolly, the Scottish
Old
comedian
school.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
old school
the long
comedian.
haired guy,
Mhm.
and he was doing a talk with on Craig Ferguson one time. Or was it Craig? I think it was Craig. Yeah, and he says, "Do you get a lot of hate from the Scottish media and stuff?" He says, "All the time."
Mhm.
UK, he says, "That freaking brutal." And I found out I share his birthday, so I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
cool."
no kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like so. But it was making me chuckle, because I was thinking, especially as in comedy, a comedy is often a humorous um philosophy. of how you view
Mm-hmm.
life, and then people are coming to hear what you have to say. Because why? It's detoxing. It's not always watching something on TV. It's like, I want to hear what you have to say. Well, help me see how
Mm-hmm.
silly it is. In essence, break it down for me for how silly it sounds as opposed to what they're telling me on the
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, because their perspective could be funny.
And it can be scrutinized and saying, "Do you
Sure.
hear how this sounds?" It's the court jester, and this
Yeah.
has always been the
Yeah.
art. Is I want to go see the court jester, but he really he encouraged me. He's saying, because whenever you have something worthwhile to say, you're always going to be scrutinized the most.
Sure.
It's paraphrased, and it literally. As I was talking about my birth mom, because again, sometimes there's not too many people to talk to these days.
Oops.
Because I
Yeah.
said and I'm not saying at the top as in I'm better than her, but it's lonely because I want to invite everybody to join me at the same place that I'm at.
Yeah.
And as you said,
They don't want to go to where you're at.
well,
I don't even want to go there. I mean,
we're having a conversation.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But This
yeah,
is this is this is basic for me, dude, and I'm so blessed because it's genuine therapy talking to somebody at least that's you're
yeah,
aware. I don't
yeah.
have to be like
It's fighting the
wear
fight
kit.
that you're fighting in a different way. Yeah.
I have to play kit gloves, or it's kind of like I'm the guy that the front lines guy, and everybody's like, oh, he's part of this thing,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm coming now to the civilians
Someone
that
who
are all.
gets you, is that what you're trying to say?
Well, not even come and get me. It's just like all the
Or no,
civilians are talking bad
who
about
gets
me.
you? Who
Yeah,
gets you? Who understands
right,
you? Yeah.
right, and I do get the monk thing. It's a blessing and a curse. I understand
Hmm.
symbolism, and I could talk about it. Like I walk in a store, and it's just like ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 and I have to dumb myself down in order to fit in.
Hmm.
And I'm not smart enough to be stupid. I've said this about dating, and I said
It's
it
great.
is sad. It is
Yeah.
sad, dude, because I I partly despise what I know.
Yes.
Because if I
Yes.
could go back, I would be in Hollywood or something right now. I'd be writing
Yeah.
my book. I'd be bringing my
Yeah.
stuff to the big screen. And
You'd be
instead,
on the other path. Yeah.
I'm dealing with everybody that hates me
Yeah.
because I came about in C19 and says, I'm tired of people lying to people.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
what my whole background's been. And so I have to say something. And now
Hmm.
because I was convicted, or I took the spiritual warfare draft, right? I'm
Yeah.
going all
Yeah. I was
recruits to the
drafted to
front
God. Yeah.
line,
God's army. Yeah. Uh-huh.
and it's now like, it kind of sucks. But as I said
Yeah.
before, it's gritty, it's grisly. I get out there and I'm willing to go behind enemy lines,
Hmm.
and then I'm sharing, and then what do they hear? We're not all as good and as smart as you, Brandon. We all don't know. You know, Brandon. And I'm going,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Why do you guys say this? I
Hmm.
want you to join me. I will train
Hmm.
you in how to do it. Sometimes I'm just venting my frustration because I see so much hesitation with
Hmm.
people. And did you ever watch the movie with Colin Farrell when he played Alexander the Great?
I think so.
Early late 90s,
Yes,
early
I did.
2000s.
Yeah. 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 Go ahead. Tell me what you're going to say about that.
There was a line. I like it. Granted, again, I study Alexander the Great, so I do know there's a lot of flaws. I will not.
Sure. Yeah. He was a
Anybody's gonna start
we all
writing
flawed
this.
people.
It
Yeah.
was filled by Oliver Stone. I get it. Okay, whatever. I like the music. I like the assembly of
That
character.
was a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it has its moments. And there's one scene when Alexander is diving into battle, and the phrase he yells out is, "Come, Macedonians, why do you run?"
Hmm.
And that's kind of what it feels like for me. Fortune favors the bold. In
Hmm.
essence, it's kind of like, come, Macedonia, like, guys, we
Yeah.
have the winning hand. The enemy is not expecting, like, when you watch Gettysburg, they're not going to expect us to run down to the hill to them, because all day
Mm-mm.
long they've been trying to run up here to get past us.
Yeah.
Let's rush them. Let's do the least expected thing right now. And
Yeah.
that, with these kind of conversations, that's what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to be that good. Just equip your bayonet and charge with
Yeah.
me. I just want to have a brother in
Well,
arms, shoulder to shoulder. Let's go into it. Well, I'm not gonna.
yeah.
I don't care how many battle notches, or how many body counts you got on the notches on your gun. I just want you to rush in there with me. And I'm
Hmm.
seeing so many people going, well, what's this? Stop
Timid.
being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not to put you down. It's just I see so much potential, and I'm seeing you cower away.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, bro. And it grieves my heart because I
Yeah.
think people
Yeah.
overthink it. And this comes
Hmm.
down to with Peter. If you're going by the measurements, it says Christ came to meet them during the storm of Galilee, when they're in there and they're saying, "Oh God, it's a ghost," when they see Christ. Roughly, if they're in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, that means that's 3.5 miles. It's 7 miles across. Christ is in the middle of that, walking towards them, towards the boat. That means he's come to meet
Mhm.
you halfway. If that's true, if that is true, and if he's
Sure.
gonna come to meet you halfway, and he's now saying, "Hey, Peter, you can come and join me out here in this," and he does so for a couple of steps, then he looks around at the
Mhm.
storm and he starts to sink. Now, granted, I'm not saying I can walk on water. What I'm saying is, it's the focus of, I want to walk towards that, because if he's already coming
Mhm.
halfway to meet me, I'm willing to come and meet him. Why would I run?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
So
No, I get it.
that might have been lengthy, but I
No, I hear you. And the one thing that I think about often along these lines is, because I think, and it goes back to you're such a hard charger and such going to the heart that your distance between where they are and where you are is farther than, let's say, my approach, which since I'm closer to the masses and I go, hey, you want to know how you win? You just do nothing. You don't even have to pick up a sword. You don't have to post anything on social media. When they ask you to do something, you do nothing. When they ask for your consent to go to war, you don't give it. When they ask for your consent to get a medicine or a poke, you don't give it. And so it's like, because you're the distance, you're what are you posting, 11 10, 12 times a day? I mean, you're such a hard charger.
yeah.
The masses are so far, the gap is so wide from where you're at and where they're at, where me, I mean, I think I'm able to meet them where they're at and go, hey, the first step is just turn off the news. The first step is don't
Yeah.
ever listen to government. The first step is don't watch Hollywood. The first step is don't, and those are the baby steps. In fact, I mean, I've had to talk to you about this. I mean, I've got a comedy special. I'm in the banks ready to go at some point called Baby Steps, which is that's the metaphor for my life. It's like, how do you, make hundreds or 1,000 videos, or how do you do video and digital for 10 years? Well, you baby step in. You don't tell anyone you're doing it. You baby step in. How do
Mm.
you, accomplish whatever you're going to accomplish? You baby step in. That, I don't know. That's what I see. What do you think of that? I mean, you just go so hard in the paint that 99% of people can't even fathom. I look at your content and your push, and I'm like, how does this guy do it? And you don't have a team, you don't have anyone, and you are like wildly productive with your content. It's mind-boggling.
Well, it's like this weekend. This is not a diss or shadow if
Yeah.
anybody's listening and they're one of those individuals. But like, again, Easter, everybody's like, "Do you have anything on Ishtar?" I'm taking a personal 2 day. Like I said, I'm hanging out, trying to find out a place to live. I'm taking like a day or two for
Mhm.
myself. Unfortunately, then the Pope dies. "Do you have anything up there? I've been looking on your page all day long," and I'm like,
Oh, they've been asking for really? Yeah, it
it's
must get
like you
frustrating.
said, I do
Like,
three
you
five
working?
pages.
Hello, Brandon. You take this out.
It's
That's
like,
frustrating.
again, this is not shade. This is not a diss. It's just it makes me chuckle. It says I take a day or two
Yeah.
for
Well,
myself.
that's see, that's
And,
the that
and
that's the what do they call it? The expectations that you've
yes,
set for.
and I chuckle because it's like, I'm not, again, this is, both these individuals are not of this category, but most, like, some of them, I'm like, you don't contribute all these other times. I tell you in stories, I put in scriptures, I put pinned comments. You have to support me. And again, $2 to $5, bare minimum. If you
Right.
can't, please pray excessively that God to send some,
Right.
like, oodles and doodles of cash so I can keep doing what I'm doing, because I'm struggling with ends meet with rent and paying off car insurance and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah, as I've said before, the analogy that genuinely feels like is I'm Punisher mode. And I was
Hmm.
just, I was chuckling because they just did the reborn, born again thing with Daredevil, and they have a thing where he just walks into the warehouse. And I'm chuckling. One minute I was like, "Oh, this kind of cheesy," but the second thing I was going, "No, it's Punisher," because he just walks into the room and says, "I don't even care if I die right now. I'm just gonna take as
Hmm.
much as you can." And that's the trope. I don't care if you kill
Hmm.
me. I'm here, and I'm gonna take as many as you with me as possible.
Hmm.
And again, I do see people poaching my work, and I know Punisher doesn't like when people steal his stuff, but I'm like, yeah,
Sure. Do
it's
you see that?
good.
Do people poach it and don't credit you, or?
Yeah, I'm not gonna give names, but there's a lady I've done podcasts with, and she was listening to Tinfoil Hat, and these two guys particularly, they were citing a lot of my work,
Mm,
which again, no one has touched on, particularly on this thing. And they're
hmm.
basically quoting me
Yeah,
verbatim, and they didn't give me any credit. Now I've
yeah.
had a relationship with her for about, I don't know, 2 years in this doing this stuff. And she's like,
Hmm.
yeah, they're quoting your stuff, dude, and they're not saying a single thing about you. And I'm like, oh, really?
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Yeah. You know what they say about imitation, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, but again,
Right.
for me,
It's appropriate to give credit, if they
well,
take it, but some
just
people
an
don't think that way.
just a nod. But the part of the thing is, just like with the Punisher trope, like if a cop is putting on his things, you're putting it on for the wrong reasons. Why do I
Hmm.
do what I do? It's not for fame. It's not for fortune.
Hmm.
I'm doing what I'm doing. Again, my vigilante, and again, I'm chuckling because they're forming in the show a conspiracy, no, sorry, anti-vigilante task force. And I said, well, that's kind of what they're going to start doing for anti-conspiracy theory task force.
Hmm.
That's kind of what it feels like. And if you're stealing my MO, my signature, because
Hmm.
I'm not doing it for content sensation or hopium grifting. I am genuinely trying to help people so that
Yeah.
they don't fall away from God, that they get back on the straight and narrow. If you want to admire me, support me.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or join the fight. I don't care how you start doing it, just start doing it. It's like one of the two things. If sponsor the gladiator, I don't have arm, like when you look at Russell Crowe throughout
Yeah.
the movie, he first he has like the two stallions, then he has this, then he has somebody was showing
Mm.
breaking it down because he gets, as he wins more fights, he gets more money and he starts putting more stuff on his armor. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking to myself, yeah, that's kind of what it needs to be. Um, if you like how he's fighting the
Yeah.
orator or whatever, then keep funding that because apparently
Hmm.
he knows what he's doing. I don't want to go out there, but I like what I see what he's doing because he's getting the crowd. Are you not entertained? Right? I'm showing you this
Hmm.
because I'm leading to a big event. I'm going to expose your emperor for the clown that he is,
Hmm.
and I'm going to fight him to the death, even if it costs my life at the end of the movie. This
Hmm.
is what it feels like, dude. And so when you're talking about the baby steps, for me, it was a traumatic event. I saw the correlation between what went on with my family as I keep up with, and again, my
Hmm.
family don't understand this. When I gave my testimony, I said I saw it domestically, and then I saw it internationally. Same thing with the
Hmm.
Punisher. They hurt my family. Now I'm going to put down all the dirtbags in the world. This is
Hmm.
it's again then that I know again I'm just saying this is the trope. I've seen the relatability here with yourself. You're at least going, okay, it's a journey and it's going to be one step at a time,
Hmm.
but it's a journey that I have to at least put my toe in the water.
Hmm.
It's kind of like more of the Matt Murdock Daredevil. You're going about it saying, I'm going to try my best. We're going to try to do it the legal way, or and it's not
Hmm.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a little bit of a different way of going about the
It's a
same
different way.
exact thing.
Right. He's a
Whereas,
different
as you said, I'm a
character.
little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your character. That's your character. That's your way of being, so to speak,
It's my way of being, and as
and
I've said
doing.
before, originally it was I put in my bio professor because
Hmm.
krollology, and it's only because
Yeah.
somebody gave me the name long time ago back when I was in college, and then people saying, "Oh, the nutty professor. Oh, he's a narcissist. Oh, no, no, no." So I said, "Okay, fine. You guys don't want." It was supposed to be cute. It's not
It is
supposed to
cute.
be
Yeah.
narcissistic title, but everybody kept going after it. So I said, "What's something they never stereotyped before? Sheepdog." And a
Yeah.
sheepdog will
Yeah.
nip at your heel. Right. He's the master.
Well.
He's the good shepherd. I'm the
Hmm.
sheepdog.
Yeah. No one's gonna make
Give me
fun
the
of a
whistle.
sheepdog.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'll run out. I'll nip at some heels. I'll be the first line of defense when the wolf comes for your throat. Are you going to appreciate me? No. But that's not my job. I'm supposed to scare you towards the master. Because your
Yes.
pastor has made you so soft and compliant. I have to go or do
Hmm.
the little dip and push you in the general direction.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing. And that's why I changed it because people they're creating the stereotype at me, or they're trying to label me.
Hmm.
And it's okay. You can label me. Most of you will misunderstand me. Again, just like a vigilante. Why are you doing it? You're trying to scare everybody? I'm like, no.
Hmm.
I just see evil in the night, and I'm willing to go toe to toe and be as ruthless as possible to do it. I might take some scars and wounds for it, but I'll take it for the team because you too scared to get out of the. You're going to bed
Yeah.
for the night. I'm going out there fighting.
Yeah. That's such a good analogy. Yeah. Sleep tight.
I'm
Well,
moonlighting it with people like yourself, saying, you know what,
yeah.
I'll go hang out, and we'll team up, and the
Yeah.
conversation, dude, that in of even of itself, if it inspires you, cool.
Hmm.
If, let's okay. Tier one would be prayer. Second one, be a doer, right?
Yeah.
Just go out and do it yourself. And three, throw $2 to $5.
Yeah. And even another tier, like it, share it,
Subscribe.
promote it, whatever, clip it,
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. Because all those things, I mean, I clip all, all 70% of my stuff is clips that I'm because I have this, a whole list of like strategies and tactics for creating content. And one of them is I want to amplify truth and amplify goodness, and I want to expose evil. And when you hear something that it's like a pill, an awakening pill. I'm gonna, oh my gosh, I've got to amplify that to spread it out to the masses. And many people are doing this online. I'm
Mm,
seeing more people coming into the game all the time because
good.
there's a wave. No one's going to the other side going, no, I believe government more, I believe institutions more, I believe corporations more. Everyone's coming to our side.
Good.
That's what I see. I don't see anyone going, "Hey guys, here's something great about multinational corporations." No one is saying, no one is saying that, and so it's like the bricks are the bricks are falling piece by piece, and in it, and yeah, so those are good ways. And I also, like, and it just say share it, like it, whatever. Um,
Again, it's micro. You think you're not doing anything. That's why, again, sometimes I'm
yeah,
posting reels. I'm like, everybody, I see like 17, 18 saved.
yeah.
Share it,
But no shares. Yeah. Well,
repost it.
that's
Like,
an extra step. Some people, it takes, as you and I know, it takes time to clip it, share it, download it, whatever. And
again,
some
that's
people are just not in that mode,
I know,
you
but
know.
sometimes I will glance at occasional profile and I'm just like, still all putting materialism, your vacation, you're this, and again, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
expecting you at my level, but there's a certain point where I'm like, you really don't understand why I do the things I do.
yeah,
Again, like with the
yeah.
Punisher, he says, "You're putting on my logo. You don't know my pain. You don't know what I'm hearing at night."
Exactly.
I'm doing this out of haunted, traumatic aspect. And again,
Sure.
that is what fuels me. Is the traumatic aspect of what I dealt with on a domestic scale. I'm over here saying, I'll put down all the dirt bags.
Yeah.
I don't
What
care.
forged you? Yeah, you're forged by
Yeah.
fire, and so that's why you are where we how we our past has created who we are right now, and that's why you go so hard, and that's why I mean, you're a hard charger, because you
Try to
clearly
be.
you've had, um, and a lot of people
But
they don't want to charge, that hard. They want to keep one foot in, one foot out, or both foots out. I don't know,
put
still
your
pretend
right
like
foot in,
it's
your right foot out.
I mean, and I see it too. I see people, um, and like I say, I understand it. Like we've talked about, sometimes I wish I could go back even just for a day, to relive the ignorance is bliss on the not knowing, and partake. But you can't go back, and I mean, it's and dance with that, whether it's consumerism, not knowing what is fueling that, and the destruction it does to other people in the world and the countries and whatever, or whether it's movies or different types of food that tastes so good that isn't good for the body. Yeah, you can't go back once or like you say, fast food. It's like, okay, we can, you know
Once you know, dude, you go hard, and I think I appreciate people like yourself because other people I do shows with, and they just see it as, oh, that's just a brand new stereotype, and I'm like, no, that's not stereotype me. This should be all of us. Granted, do I sound a little bit more extreme? I'm just a little bit more zealous about what I
Mhm.
do, and I acknowledge it. I get it.
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
It
you
is
are.
too
Yeah,
much
your
for some
conviction.
people.
I use the word. You're more convicted. It seems like you're more convicted. Yeah. Are
And
you
it has to
saying?
be for what we do.
Yeah,
Our group's already small, but what
yeah,
what I'm doing, I'm against like four categories, not just the one. So
yeah.
I have to do all that resilient build up on my own downtime.
You're so
I have to
true.
get used to burning bridges with people that
Yeah,
I've known for over a decade, dude, and
yeah.
it hurts. like
Mm-hmm.
hell when every time you have to
Mm-hmm.
say, well, okay, fine. That's another thing that I'm seeing comrades or friends just dropping on the wayside, or they don't want to hang out with me because, oh, you went too extreme, or you
Yeah.
hurt a whole lot of people. I'm like, no, I'm going after evil. And
Yeah.
you don't understand what evil is.
Like
Because
you say, you're fighting evil on four fronts, where some people are only fighting it on one front.
yeah, I'm over here like I think I read something one time. It's supposed to be a World War II story, and I'm not sure if it was a true story. It says we're I think it was like the Germans. I think that we're surrounded on all sides. He says, "Good, there's no way they're getting away from us this time."
No. So let me ask you this. So on the four fronts, I'm assuming two two fronts, government and organized religion. What are the other two fronts? Are the other
Government,
two?
organized religion, but then you're doing with identity politics,
Yeah, good
with
point.
again political identity, and then you're dealing with like this.
And there are many, right?
Yes.
Many
Yes. What
fronts.
I'm saying, well, again, you got the red hairs. I'm sorry, the red
Yeah.
hats, the blue hairs. Then there's this. They're going
Hollywood,
against
the
feminism, going against
cult.
this, going against that. It is again, I think identity politics. You're so consumed with institution
Mm.
and ideologies,
But
right?
it's its own kind of separate category. I get
Right.
you. Okay, I was curious
And
about
this is
that.
where I did the Venn diagram. Is that people like again, I got a problem with the problem with this, problem with that. So they gravitate towards an ideology. I call it the I Venn diagram. They go to
Hmm.
the ideology, or they blame the ideology. They go after the institution, and I'm over here as in the individual, the I, right?
Mm.
And then the individual, they're going, okay, I could go into this sphere, I could go into that sphere, or I'm aware, right? Be ye in the world, not of the world, as it says in the Bible. And God's saying over here, hey, come out of her, my people.
Mm.
So all of a sudden you leave that two that two sphere as an individual, and now you're single, like I said. Now you can be indwelled with the Holy Spirit and kind of understand I'm in the world for a temporary basis. It's not my home, right?
Yeah, I think about that a lot lately. Like I
But
don't, I
but
don't,
the
I've been thinking about this concept of, building castles on the sand kind of a thing. Like I look around and I see, and I never really saw it before, but I see people building like castles, whether it be relationship castles or physical things in the world. And then I'm like, I never really saw the basis as being sand before, and almost or like dust in the wind kind of a thing. But back to your statement of like in this world but not of it, I'm like, oh my gosh, and it makes me not want to. I want to build certain things in the world. Like I'm going to do my work in the world and leave my things here using the talents God gave me. But I'm not really eager to build quote unquote castles on sand, especially this being a fallen world. I don't see it the way I used to see it. It's weird.
and
I mean, I
that's
still want
again
to do my work,
that's
but I don't want
biblical.
to.
That's
Yeah.
Romans 12, 1 through 2, and this one hit me. We're living in a conformist culture, and in Romans 12, 1 through 2, it says, "Be ye not
Mm.
but confined to things of this world, but be ye transformed, or be not
Yeah, be not
conformed. Sorry,
conformed.
be not
Yeah.
be conformed to things of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind."
Yeah.
That is to be born again, because it's not just to please me with your lips. Your hearts are far from me. Heart and mind, it's the same
Hmm.
thing, right? As the heart thinks, or as the mind thinks, so the heart be whatever. Something that I'm
Yeah.
butchering it, but to paraphrase, and that's literally people don't understand the heart and the intention of what we're doing. So yeah, it's denominations, political parties, identity politics, which people don't even see where it's at. And
Mm.
then I'm dealing with the self-righteous lovers of themselves. It's narcissism.
Ooh.
It's and again, I
Yeah.
do say narcissism because it's like my buddy Jack. I have not caused any ill will towards you. I have not hurt you with these conspiracy theories.
Hmm.
Every time I have talked about it, it was because your best friend brought it up. I just merely answered it. But I am dealing with the ridicule and being pointed
Hmm.
fingers at and put. Do you think I like this? I'm
Yeah.
trying to have a normal town time, right? Outside of all the
Hmm.
stuff that I do, trying to fit in, and even doing that when I'm again seen, not heard. When I'm asked,
Uh-huh.
I will speak. Otherwise, I will be that dog that sits
Right.
by the fireplace. I don't bark. I don't yip. I don't
Yeah.
complain. I'm just happy being with the family, wagging my tail, right?
Mhm.
And I've said that before.
I'm off the clock right now, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's literally
Yeah.
what I was trying
I'm
to
having a
think. It's
beer
like
off the clock.
I
Yeah.
could be normal, right?
Uh,
As I told people, I says I'm like a dog. When you tell me secrets, I'm like a dog. I could wag my tail, but no one will ever believe me.
sure.
Um, and that went over a lot of people's heads. That's what I'm saying. Is like I can't even do little quips like that because that goes right over people's heads.
No.
And with the church, I noticed is that and people one girl was telling me, says, "Did you notice that he was looking at you during the sermon?" I'm like, "Was he?" I says, "I didn't even notice." Says, "Yeah, but he
Yeah.
seemed to be eyeing you with a particular statement." And I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. Every time I'm sitting there in the foyer or whatnot, it's like I know you're playing cagey with me. You're asking questions. And again, how are you doing with your finances, Brandon? Pretty
Hmm.
poorly, actually. You know,
Yeah.
stop asking the question. I've told you before, it's like a digital missionary platform.
Hmm.
It doesn't pay much, but it's a field out there that needs to be had. And I'm probably reaching a lot more than you have in the last decade of bringing into this small little church, right?
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
trying. I'm trying. And I want to be inclusive. I want to make you part of this because that's what Christianity. I want to
Hmm.
build roots. I want to have connections in every community. I want to hug. I want to
Yeah.
have fellowship, for crying out loud. That is
Fellowship.
normal. But we're living in an age where that has been so set apart and desensitized from what is normal that it's seen as
Hmm.
abnormal now, right? It's just like eating healthy and all this stuff. This
Yeah.
is normal. This is how you're supposed to grow food. This is what you're supposed to put on for an ointment. This is how you're
Hmm.
supposed to use linen and not this other synthetic crap.
Hmm.
So dealing with an age of people that lovers of themselves, not and I am or narcissists or what's another one? Self-righteous
Yeah.
and dispensationalism
The
frequently
self-concern,
do that
self-focus. Yeah.
because there is denomination, but then there's this thing where it veers off into their own individual lives, right? And again, I see them as all interchanging, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's just a difference of degree. But it ends up coming on four different flanks where it's like still different, still baddie, different part of the same
Hmm.
problem, right? But I
Yeah.
have to take all of that from every single direction, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. It
Yeah.
just sucks because I do feel very alone.
Yeah.
I keep telling that to folks. I says, you do not understand.
Yeah. You
Is
walk a
like
lonely path.
we've said this before.
Hmm.
People pleaser. I
Yeah.
admit it. I had that for a long time to get to this point where I says, "Oh, I hurt your feelings.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I spoke
Yes.
truth to you." And it was again, and I'm not like I'm sorry you feel that way. No,
Yeah.
it's I'm sorry I ruined your little illusion of life. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't trying to be mean. I literally just said a sentence and you overreacted with what I just said.
Right.
I wasn't trying to demean you. I'm just saying this is what's going on in the world. Or again, like my inscription. You're reading yourself when you read my inscription. It had nothing to do with you.
Yes.
But if that's how you think and identify with, you're mad at me.
Like we are,
Right?
like when we were opening the thing, when we're opening this video, when a person attacks you, it's much more of a reflection on them than it
Yes.
is, because it wouldn't if there wasn't something inside of them, you wouldn't have triggered it,
Right.
because I don't get upset with your I just think thank you, Brandon, for sharing this stuff, but I see the people that do, I see some do, but I do see a lot of I see a lot of praise too,
And again,
a lot of
I
people are very grateful.
the ones who do support and the ones who do, I'm saying thank you,
Hmm.
God, for people who know how to write a nice comment.
Hmm.
Sometimes, and again, somebody's like, "Oh, I don't see any," but I'm like, "Yeah, I get rid of them."
Yeah, you
There's a
you
lot
you
of
told
there's
me
a
that before, yeah. Because you don't
it,
want you're pruning the comment
when you're doing
section.
a fisher of men, there's even some fish when you catch them in the net, you have to toss them back. Why?
Sure.
Because it's not edible.
It's not big enough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
It's
not
not an
ready.
edible fish. So if I can't get anything off of this, I have to throw that off, right?
Hmm.
It's not my main thing. Like I'm known for selling this particular kind of fish. This is
Yeah,
not me, or it's
good
not in
point.
season. Throw it out. You may
Hmm.
not like it, and I don't care. But it's like this one lady yesterday. She's arguing, oh, it's Armenians, not Gazans, that are getting kicked out of the Easter thing over there in Jerusalem.
Mm.
And I'm going, okay, still in Palestine. Well, it's
Yeah,
actually in Jerusalem. I'm like, do you hear what you're arguing the geopolitical semantics of where the location is, and I'm
yeah.
saying it's the atrocity of kicking people out for their belief system. Of again, I
Hmm.
don't even support Holy Land and sites and all that. So it's like, cool, it's here, but it's not the end of the world. But it's the aspect of, do
Hmm.
you hear what you're promoting? That's your emphasis right now, not on
Yeah.
the atrocity. That isn't somebody that
Like
knows what's going.
she's missing the forest for the trees,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. It's like it just went
Hmm.
right over your head,
Yeah.
right? And this is where again, you and I are coming into play. And I'm like, this is the problem: is that is what you see, and I'm
Hmm.
telling you, try these glasses on for size. No, I don't want them.
Yeah.
You might want to put these on because you're going to
Hmm.
see
Just
things a
look through.
little bit
Well,
differently in a moment.
well, the funny thing is to me, and I've had this happen to me personally, dealing with a situation in my own city, trying to. I use the word educate or just inform people, hey, look into
Yeah.
this. This will affect you. You're not being told the truth by the city and the powers that be here. And some people, they don't even want to know. Like I had a guy come up to me and he was on the other side of the argument. And we had a flyer, we were giving out flyers. I had a guy come up and he said, hey, I'm so and so, and I see, and I said, I assumed he wanted a flyer because when someone has information, I will take the information and assess it. I want all
Yes.
information because I'm a data collector, and then I'm gonna look at it and go, oh, how does this? Because I want to be the most effective, knowledgeable person in the world. This guy goes, no, I don't want your information. I just want to tell you you're wrong, and blah 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 blah. And he proceeded to just go down this thing, and I was like, oh, this is weird. I don't often meet people who don't like. But when I meet people who don't want more information about health and wellness, government, life, or whatever things,
Right.
and I'm like, that's an interesting stance to take. You're good. Your cup is full. Okay. It's just so foreign to me. And it's almost like a glitch in the matrix kind of a thing because I'm just like, oh, you know what you need to know. I
Right.
don't know what I need to know. I'm always acquiring more information. Anyways, I think it's funny when I see people that are just like, no more information. I don't want to know anything. It's so laughable to me.
I love the way you phrase that. It's like, oh, what an interesting
What
perspective
an
to
interesting
have. It's
stance to
like,
say. Like,
and then they're looking at you. What do you mean? I'm right. Well,
it's
how do you know you're right if you didn't bother to acquire
yeah.
more information to compare and contrast if you were right or wrong?
And then like the next level of it is, oh, so you're right because you believe what the government and the media tells you.
Hmm.
Okay. It's
Like that's
just
exactly
so
what I'm
foreign
telling
to
you.
me.
Those people are lying to you. No, they're
Like
not. Well, how do you know?
it's so wild. I laugh about it because yeah, like it's like so okay, so you got it all. It's just so wild to me. But back to the you know fact that some people, when people are captured by whether it's government, media, Hollywood, church, whatever, um, and we've talked about this before too. I always joke around like because I look at what I'm doing as almost like an archer shooting an arrow of truth to get the bad guy that's got my friend or family member or fellow human being captured and they're holding him hostage, right? Whispering lies and deception into their ears to keep them hostage. And then I look at it as I got to shoot the arrow, and there's this small area of opportunity that so I don't hit my fellow human being, my brother or sister, but I get the bad guy. And sometimes when I shoot that arrow, I intentionally want to nick them just a little bit. Ouch, ouch, that hurt. Because I'm like, well, you shouldn't let yourself get captured by the bad guy. All right. That's on you. And did I hit you on purpose or was it an accident? We may never know. But I mean, because there has to be some level of like, don't let yourself get captured by the enemy, you
Right.
know?
You're mainly making me think of the Lord of the Rings, that little guy that was whispering into the king's ear, and he's just sitting there like a ghoul almost.
I forget that part, but
Yeah, I think it's in the second one.
was it?
But that's kind of what I was thinking is that he's the king, quote unquote, but this little silver tongue
Is
whisperer
manipulating
guy
him.
is whispering in his ear,
Yeah.
and
That's what the devil does, I think.
yes, and the
You
guy's just
know,
like
in
like,
music
oh,
and
he's the
movies,
king.
and yeah, it's like
And he's causing
crazy.
problems because he's whispering on behalf of the Prince of Darkness into your ear of
Hmm.
how to process the world. And
Yeah.
you are over here going, I see where the problem is. All right, I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need
Yeah. I'm gonna go in. I'm going in. Yeah. No, and we've all been there. It's like, but it's just interesting. I mean, I look at things like, that the CIA testifying in the 70s going in front of Congress and the Congress saying, do you have any people in media? And the guy's like, yeah,
Mhm.
we do. And then he presses them further and he goes, let's talk about this offline. That is all I need to know to never watch media again, never watch Hollywood again. And that was in the 70s. And then when I see people that I love watching media and news and anything mainstream in Hollywood, I'm like, I don't, and you can't communicate it to them because even if you show them the clip,
Yeah.
some people aren't ready to see it. Like,
Well, that's
so
going into
wild.
what was it, Yuri Bezmenov?
Hmm.
Cultural subversion. People watch it. It's
Yes.
worth it. Any of his
Oh, he's
interviews are
so
worth
good.
it. But breaking it down of saying like you literally could show them visuals and they'll deny it. And I'm
Yes.
seeing that now. It's like, oh, this was like AI
Yes.
generated. Even if it was AI generated, some of his satire is literally showing you this is real things. Like there are literal shirts. God, Trump is God. Like
Hmm.
this is there's a literal guy that's sprayed in Texas. Again, I've seen two different angles of the same truck. Um, Like Donald Trump is Jesus Christ or something like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I'm
The
like,
level of delusion is just
and I'm
off the
like,
charts.
if you're not calling out the blasphemy for the real things and like the tattoos and they call it
Hmm.
out, call it out. It's okay. But as a Christian, I keep hearing, well, Obama did it too, or this has been in the works for a while. Oh, we did it. You're still
Hmm.
defending parties. Every
Yeah,
time I hear a phrase like
yeah.
that,
You're
you're
missing the
still
point.
defending parties. You're not where you and I are at. We're like,
Hmm.
we don't do left or right round here. We're done.
Hmm.
And the fact that you're still defending one guy, again, especially the most blasphemous in the last, what, 200 years, if you're still defending
Yeah,
one guy, you still don't get what it is because we're over here saying we're done.
yeah.
Burn it all down.
Cashing out.
Start taking personal, yeah,
Hmm.
cash out, take personal
Walk
accountability.
away from the table.
In anarchy, it's the absence of rulers. I have dominion over my household as a man. I
Hmm.
have a masculine precedent that I'm supposed to love my wife as Christ so loved the church. I'm willing to,
Hmm.
again, if God's word was Christ, the son of God is the word of God. Think of it that way. And God is a God of his word. He's willing to literally die for what he believes in, right? The word of God, and was came back to life. What is a man supposed to be then if we're supposed to be like Christ? We're willing to die for what we say and believe
Hmm.
because it's everything that we live for.
Conviction.
I'm a
Yeah.
man of my word. God's a God of his word. That's cool. Awesome. And you want to be aligned in that, right?
Hmm.
Again, with Joshua, I always tell people, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. You guys do you. Again, the libertarian
Hmm.
aspect. But as for me, we're going to do this. Okay.
Hmm.
And if you want to follow why I do the things I do, and I'm not serving the gods on the other side of the Euphrates, then you can ask me. You can ask how do we implement this?
Hmm.
I'm not going to set it down on you, but for me and mine, this is how we're going to do it.
Hmm.
It's that
Well,
simple, folks.
and what's really going to happen? Let me see if I can get my screen back here. What's really going to happen, and I'm seeing this too, is the people in the communities, and I'm thinking specifically of like Amish type people or other people that have been living away from this silly system, no education system, no healthcare system, no financial system, living simple. Those people are going to be, they're going to be like the desirable. I want to go live like an Amish person. I don't want to play tech anymore, AI anymore. I want to go, work all day on a farm and come home. I want to live that life. I want to check out of this silly world. Those people are going to be, they're the ones that are going to be like, oh my gosh,
My
everyone's going to
commodity.
want what they have. Yeah, that's the nature. Community, like we're talking about community, relationships, family, Whole Foods, fresh air, no synthetic whatever fabrics. People are moving in that direction. The ones that see it. Some are going to embrace the silliness and the tech and the AI, but I think a lot of people are going to be like, or some. I don't know how many there'll be. I know I'm not going to, you know.
Well, it's some people, and I think my buddy Manny, he summed it up perfectly because I asked him, I said, sometimes how does he get into some of the adventures that he's gone into as such a young guy? And
Mm,
again, Manny is one of those guys, he could get incapacitated, but he still is able to articulate beautifully.
mm,
And he was telling me, he says, because I learned about the value of social equity,
mm.
social equity. And that has always stuck with me because, again, I understand street smarts, but the value of social equity, and not that you use people, it's the aspect of, I know a guy, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know a guy, and I went to go live with him and just experiment it with it, just to socially test myself, right? See
Hmm.
what I'm capable of. Go through an experience. And again, everybody comes from different walks of life, but as you just said with the Amish, and as we were talking earlier, you have to start seeking putting that into your life, right?
Yeah,
If again, like with
living that way.
Christ, I need to come and meet you halfway. All right, I have to be willing to walk a mile in your shoes, right?
Hmm.
It's the same premise as you know what? I don't really do conspiracy stuff, but what's one book? Give me one book. I'll suck it up. I'll do one book. Cool. This book and or fast from social media for a month.
Sure. Yeah. Or, or
Something.
or
Yeah,
Hollywood or news
right.
or government, whatever. That's
Yeah,
the
turn
first step.
like my buddy. Can you turn off Daily Wire for about 3 months?
Yes. Oh,
Can't do it.
yes. And then they say, what's that? I don't know if there's a period of time because you and I have been doing this for so long. You don't know what you think until you shut it all out. And like
Yes.
for what is it, 28? I don't know how many days, 28, 30, a year, 2, 3. I don't know how long it takes, but you will eventually form your own opinions about the world
Well,
and hear
because
yourself
suddenly you
think.
go, I don't know how to talk about this because everybody's telling me to giving me the whataboutisms, right? Well, what
Yeah.
about this? Well, what compared about that? Well, don't you like any policies that he's doing? And I'm like, it's not about that, dude.
Yeah.
Like you and me, I know for me, I literally feel like a tightness in my chest when I hear news or C-SPAN or something like
Me
that.
too.
I can play a clip and share it with people, but
Uh-huh.
for me, it's like that's more than enough because I know it's a den of vipers. Literally, all I see
Right.
is a little pit of snakes all crawling over each other. And like I said before, if you always listen to everybody else talk, you never be able to hear yourself think.
Yes. Yes.
And it's just that it's again not even us. Don't even listen to us. Leave for a little
Yes.
bit. But that's what I'm saying. Some people are like, you have so much. I said, cool. Take your time with it at
Mm-hmm.
your own pace. Take a
Mm-hmm.
month off, then come back and be like, oh man, Brandon has like 12 episodes
Contemplate it,
I
think
haven't
about
listened
it.
to. And then I'll
Yeah.
tune in and stuff like that. But again, go out, do your own research, and then cross-reference what
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about with some other book or whatever. If even if it's not my stuff, but I'm just saying, if they want to go to your stuff, they want to go to another podcast guy. The aspect that I'm advocating when you walk away from Newsmax, Fox News, CNN, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
do you have the capability when you go out in the world? And it's just like, well, that's impossible to do. I have to know what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
The thing, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
everybody's still talking about the Super Bowl.
And you're
Okay.
just fine, right?
Right. And I'm like, still got the highlights, don't
Yeah.
care, never watched the game. Like
Yeah.
it's the same thing with most things in life. Well, didn't you hear about
Yeah.
this? Actually,
Yeah.
yes. Cause my conspiracy world
Yeah,
has
didn't you
told me
watch the new Marvel movie? Didn't you watch the new,
yes.
Red One, the new Rock movie? No, I will never watch that. I know
Right.
exactly what the message is.
Right. And it's like I don't need to do that anymore for myself is because
Mm-mm.
I just have to see a highlight and it's more than sufficient for me because I read the occult, so
Yep.
now I don't see the game as you
You
do.
read the
I'm
playbook.
right.
Now,
And now I'm
yeah.
telling you this is probably where this is heading, like in the inscription where I'll do my presentations and
Yeah, you're
shows
almost like a fortune
conversations
teller
like
now,
this.
right?
Right.
See
It's
the
like
future.
it's not even it's like align it with the Bible versus what did they just say, right? And at a certain point it's going, yeah, guys, this isn't me. This has been
Yeah.
foretold. I'm
Yeah.
just contrasting. Does what I sound crazy sound grounded now because I just showed you what's currently being said or a thing that's being passed? Where could this potentially be going? That's what I'm always
Mhm.
advocating. It says I could be wrong,
Yeah.
the Bible, see what it says we understand where origins came from. Do we see it today? Yes.
Hmm.
Now, where do I potentially see this going?
Yeah.
Could be wrong, could be right. But somebody just messaged me. Said, didn't you say the Pope could possibly die on Easter? I said, yes, I did.
Mm.
Did again. I also predicted Trump's going to suffer a head thing.
Hmm.
Somebody
Yeah.
messaged me. Said, didn't
Yeah.
you say that this is? I said, that's not me. I'm quoting the Bible with the headshot.
Yeah.
Possibly. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I said, but then the thing with the Pope happened. Again, it was a rough guesstimation. I could see it going on. What happened? It happened.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
guys, I could be wrong. I'm always willing to admit I can always recalibrate
Hmm.
it based off of new information because again, they have to update plans. They've been trying to do this since what forever. They keep
Yeah.
having to update it, but now they have the
Yeah.
technology to do things. But
Right.
it's being aware that this is what their agendas are and this is where we're at in the stream of time and we have to be cautious not to get pulled into where they're going or we get caught up in the
Yes.
current, right?
Yes.
And they're channeling.
Yep. Yep. And that's why my thing is just I want to stay as far away from him. I don't want to listen to him. I don't want to pay attention to him. And then that's, I follow another guy who's doing an extreme experiment in non-ownership. I mean, he's basically living as a homeless person, but I admire him and I'm looking at him going, and he was talking about healthcare the other day. And he's like, yeah, it is a little bit scary when you initially jump off and you do not have a health insurance and you do not go to doctors and you do not this and the other thing and food is your medicine and air and water are your medicine. And he's like, yeah, it is initially scary, but the reality is once you get past the kind of like Truman Show, once you get to the outer
Mm,
edges and you're like, okay, I'm in no man's land where you're not supposed to go or you're in trouble. Once you get past that point, you're like, oh, I'm fine. and I went past where they told me I wasn't supposed to go. Like, oh my gosh, you don't go to doctors. Oh my gosh, you don't do this. Like, no, I don't, and I'm still alive. But it's because it's so much conditioning. Like, oh, you need to be in school. You need to do all these things. You need to have these things to be tied to a society that is profoundly sick.
Hmm.
Then once you get out of it, you are a kooky person, and but those people are trendsetters. They're leaders, showing
Yes.
people, hey, this is the way, man. I mean,
The
they're lying to you.
Mandalorians.
Yeah.
The Mandalorians, this is the way.
Yeah, Mandalorian type style. I mean, but yeah, that's it. I just think about that.
No, dude, you're right.
Yeah.
And I do like it. The baby steps is true, is that you're not going to get it overnight, but it's the fact
Mm-mm.
that you're moving in the general direction. And I think
Yeah.
right now, what we're doing right now, we're trying to set the detour.
Mm-hmm.
Says, I understand you want to go down on the highway, right? The hell is a highway, as they always sing. So
Yeah.
we're telling you, you might want to take that little route down there because it might lead you to something better. But why?
Yes.
Just take my word
The
for it.
path.
If it looks really dark, your headlights will guide you. You'll
Mm-hmm.
figure it out eventually. Once you go around a corner and a couple of bends in this thing, you'll eventually start seeing why I'm directing you in that direction. Or you could
Mm-hmm.
speed past me and go past all the caution thing and stuff like that and just go speed onto the highway and see where it gets you, right? It's eventually going to fall off into a cliff. But again, you're not going to understand why I'm doing the things I do until after it hits you. And the thing is, if you start now, you start seeing what we're seeing, the Hegelian
Mm-hmm.
dialect. You start seeing it
Yes.
regularly. You understand the psyops. You understand why they're doing the false flags and all this stuff. It's not just other they get mad at me and be like, "Well, I was there at Butler, and I know you're mad at Trump, but you said somebody died." Yeah, and I don't see
Yes.
it like you do. I
Yeah,
understand.
3,000 people died in early tragedy in 2000s. I mean,
Mm.
people died I mean, that's, yeah,
And that's the saddest thing is like you don't seem to understand.
yeah,
Just
this
like the
is,
Aztecs, we're gonna put a couple hundred people at the top of the altar and let their blood drip down to please our
yeah,
gods and rip their
like
heart
this
out.
isn't a game. This is,
Yes.
they're in it to win it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Well, the other thing I think about when we talk about like cutting off the media and the news and everything, I think you have to go into those silent times and listen to yourself think. I think it builds your connection to discernment and
Hmm.
your ability to discern things. Because because if it's like a muscle, like if you're constantly fed information from the media or from Hollywood or something, why would your discernment ever need to come online? It's like
Right.
waiting dormant, going, oh, I'm here if you want me, but you have to connect with me. And like this is why people go off into nature or go sit in caves to really connect with their higher sense of understanding, you know.
We're just again part. I understand where some people are, with the new ageism aspect, where they're over here trying to tap in and find higher consciousness. What I'm trying to tell them
Hmm.
is God uses a lot of parables of nature, right? And if you don't,
Yeah.
and this is what I was trying to explain. I said, I was trying to break this down for two gentlemen. I said, did God tell them to watch the fastest bird, whatever something falcon that does the bombing before it goes and snatches its prey? Like it hits them so hard with such a force that it knocks the animal out, and then they sail off with
Hmm.
it. But now what do? We created a bomber off of that, and then we are dropping
Yeah.
bombs. He said, did God create that? No. We have helicopters, and we're inspired by the dragonfly of how it hovers and stuff like that. Did God tell them to do that? Did He tell them to make machines of war based off of something in nature?
Hmm.
No. Man
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
And this is where you have to understand God does not tell you to load a gun and to go fight. He does not create the ideology to tell you that this is your worst enemy. Man does that.
Good point.
And you have to understand, like, yes, it's good to read a Bible, but like you said, it's like a muscle. And if you're only doing freaking arms and you skip leg day, you're not going to
Mm.
understand the occult. This is why I like reading sometimes authors that are talking about the Bible, but they bring a lot of verses to their argument, right? And I'm cross-referencing, going, okay, history, verses. Da, da, da. Okay, this is what the occult was saying. This is what the verses are saying.
Hmm.
Okay, because it makes the word more potent because you're going, I see what he was going up against and why he said the things he did. I see what was, culturally, what was he condemning in society, the prophet, and I'll
Hmm.
understand now how I can make that applicational for myself, right? I understand now what's grieving God's heart because I bothered to see what the occult believes, right?
Hmm.
Now I did leg day. right?
Yeah.
Now I understand. Okay, now I'm getting fully toned, as opposed to I just flexed
Hmm.
my arms and they look real good. It looks cool, yeah, but your legs kind of look kind of skinky.
Yeah. Yeah. What's holding you up, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's like that's where people need to start cultivating it for themselves, is bother to try to read some of this stuff that will build it. And I'm not saying to go to get
Total
like a Joel
conditioning.
Osteen prosperity gospel thing.
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying try to get like a Michael Heiser, try to get a Gary Wayne, try to uh I don't know, get something that's going to get the gears going so you start understanding what we're talking about. Because again, some of the stuff
Hmm.
I'm reading, I remember when I first started out, like I don't know, 5 or something years ago, I had a buddy
Hmm.
message me and he says, "You have to be careful about that stuff, man, because it could take you into some dark places."
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Have you been
The
at my
path
home?
is narrow, right? I mean, have you what? Have you what? You,
No, that's like for me. I was like, "Yeah, have you been where I live? Like my domestic life sucks. It was already dark.
yeah.
So this is kind of like child's play at this point." Um, for me, it's like, yeah. And what am I doing? I'm saying, Father God. It's just like when you're going to the
Guide me.
abyss in those swimsuit things. You have to
Hmm.
roll it down very slowly, or you're gonna get pulled
Yes.
in or whatever.
You
That's kind
acclimate.
of what I'm doing. I'm going, God, I want to go in the deep end. Nobody else on the crew deck was offering to do it. I'll do it. But
Yeah.
just please have your hand on me. I know it's connected to the main boat, but you got to let me down because I have to go pick
Hmm.
up or go investigate something.
Hmm.
And I'm willing to go behind enemy lines and fight.
Yeah. Pray for
On
wisdom and guidance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not me. I'm just saying, okay, I trust the intel at the main hub again,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to read this stuff to believe it, but some people need to understand it, right? Because a lot of teachers are out there and they're talking, but they haven't connected
Yes.
some dots. I have, because I'm
Right.
like, okay, that's cute. Take some notes, go back and explain it to everybody else. This is what I just saw. This is
Yeah.
like, oh, look what's going on at Bohemian Grove. I'm over here going, interesting.
Hmm.
Anyways, I'm taking those notes and bringing that intel and data back to the main group, and they're going, "This is a thing? Uh-huh. Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy." And it's not just sensation, like, "Oh, look, isn't that weird? They're morally depraved, but you're a lot better because
Yeah.
you go to church." No, it's going, you see how this element's in our life? Ooh, we don't want that near us. Get away. That's cooties. You got all
Yeah.
the cooties. Get away from
Well,
us.
well, and the one thing I thought about when you were saying that is the majority of the quote unquote teachers out there or leaders or preachers or whatever, they're just like we were talking about, they're tickling the ears. They're not inviting their people to think for themselves, to question. They're just saying what they want to hear to keep them kind of seduced, like
Coming back.
siren type style. Yeah, like, and this is anytime you get like, again, when you see masses of people, mega churches, mega stars, movie stars, singers, whatever, that's a red flag that's some questionable stuff. Like if you see a smaller teacher that's like, hey, I want you to think for yourself, take what
Mhm.
don't listen to what I say per se, question me, blah, blah, blah. That's the real goodness right there. This is why I think the majority of the people, they're just seduced, whether it's a, musician, preacher, whatever else. Um, the true ones are handing off the light, like to go forge your path, look for yourself, think about it, you know?
I think part of it, it's kind of like you get the recruits. And I'm coming over saying, "Okay, there's your gear, put it on." And they're over here going, "I have to go." Oh, was it the
Yeah.
death file in the Marines or whatever it is? And I'm over here
Yeah.
like, "All right, let's go." And they're like, "Well, I like the
Yeah.
uniform. It looks nice, but I don't know about all that." And I'm over here like, "Listen, you joined, right? Like this,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wanted
But
to join the
this,
fight, and then you get upset with me, and you think I'm like, no, but you do need a drill sergeant, dude. I
you
really am
do.
understanding what it
You
is because
do.
again, I'm just one of you, right? I'm not
Hmm.
that much higher up than you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're barking orders because somebody has to get you guys moving. And if I
Yeah.
have to call you a couple of names to get you going, like,
Like we are at war. We are in a
yes,
fight. It isn't just like you not wanting to go to war or fight's not going to make it go away.
right. It's like the enemy is still over there,
The
and you're
enemy's
a new
coming.
recruit.
Always,
We don't
they're
we don't have
always.
time for Secret Service,
Hmm.
right? Now the time for Secret Service is over,
Yeah.
right? We Secret Service like a church. Ironic.
Mm.
You're doing lip service or you're doing ear service, right? And
Yeah.
Martin Luther was
Yeah.
calling it mouth houses.
Mm-hmm.
where the parishioners are just supposed to listen, don't talk. And it's like, no, we again, sermon,
That's a
talk.
good point.
We're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to communicate. We're supposed to help, again, disciple. What did Christ do?
Yeah.
He talked with his disciples. They asked questions. It says, you guys want to know what that really meant when I said that parable? Yes. We don't do that.
Mm-mm.
We don't disciple. We just listen, check box, go in and out. And the holy man knows everything. I mean, he's so much better than
Yep.
us. He went to seminary. And it's like, well, how is it when somebody else doesn't go to seminary, but does do a lot of dedication reading, they start causing a problem for the preacher,
Yeah.
right? Why does he not like that? Because you're done challenging his authority. Why? Because I
Yeah.
bothered to educate myself. This is, again, going back to the Spanish Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
If they start translating it from Latin to the average Joe's able to read it, we start losing some credibility here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
They're
you're
not in the
causing
dark
a problem.
anymore.
Right. And then they
Mm-hmm.
start bringing up some theology argument saying, well, you're saying this, blah, blah, blah. Like people,
If we educate them, they might start asking some questions,
right.
you
They might
know?
start getting serious, or they start breaking from the tradition. Again, when I question the Trinity, saying, no, Christ is the Word of God, and it's its own entity. This is,
Mm-hmm.
again, it throws people off because it's like, well, Trinity, Trinity. Well, how come Masons and Catholics believe in it too?
Mm.
Well, there's some things we still all agree on. It's like, yeah, but this is kind of a biggie. And when you break it again, I'm willing to bring verses and go hours
Sure.
explaining my view. Them, they just go, well, that's heresy, that's blasphemy, that's this. It's like, so you're going after me for blasphemy, eh? What about Trump? Well, now you're going into tangents.
Mm-hmm.
You see, like, do you see the degree? One
Yeah.
minute, you're willing to go after the guy that's telling you something that's a little outside of what you've heard before, but it's still sound if you've cross-referenced or you invested.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go after the guy that's so blatant out and obvious and he's on TV every freaking day doing blasphemies and all these other atrocities to human
Yeah.
beings.
But,
What
because they've been culturally programmed that
right.
he's right and you're, yeah, sure. And
And
it's
again,
deep
that's what I'm
level mind
saying.
control.
Yes. It says you're
You
mad
know?
at me because that's all you've been taught.
Yeah.
And now I'm again because your truth's not coming out of our mouths, and I think that's sometimes part of the thing. Because you're not
Mm-hmm.
hearing your truth coming out from our mouths, you get upset with us because we're saying, here's a third perspective. Huh?
Yeah.
Like when you take the political test, sometimes it's either going to be towards the left or to the right, or your ambient right, as I found out what my test is, or
Mm-hmm.
something left. And I'm going, they don't equate for libertarians. They don't add in
Mm-hmm.
independence. They don't add in
Yeah.
all. Again, you see what I'm saying? It says you have
Because
to
there's no
come
place for those people
spectrum,
who on
right?
the, yeah, there's the, yeah.
And I'm thinking, and again, not that I'm advocating political parties, but I'm chuckling because I when I do those tests, I'm thinking of like the psychology, the analysis and the data of how do people
Mm-hmm.
come to the conclusion or viewing this as the solution, right? Not that I'm advocating that as the, but I'm interested in the data and statistics of how do people get to think the way they are,
Sure.
right? Just like we're
Yeah.
trying to, oh, why does a serial killer do all of this stuff? Oh, what makes
Yeah.
it snap like this? And then you watch all these criminal shows and you get into the hype. For me, I'm thinking politically because it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Politically, you're supporting an ideology that tells your corporations to go fight in the banana republics and third worlds for
Yes.
their oil, poppy seeds, and
Yes.
bananas. But you don't want to understand how did you mentally support this or
Yes.
justify it. That's kind of how again, that's how I view politics. Because sentiments, yes, we're there, we're here. Politics coming of the affairs of a city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm advocating city, but we do socialize with each other. How did you come to your conclusion? You and I were able to have a conversation, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
saying personal experience, personal
Critically
experience.
think about it, like what,
Yeah. And then we were over here saying, oh yeah, this is how I came to that conclusion, or I did that for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Now, what did you do to implement a change? And if people don't see a change, I mean, part of the thing is like some people follow because they're going, cool, somebody that I agree with, or they follow and they're just again, some people they're following because I don't hear anybody else talking about this, and I'm not sure if I hate you or
Yes.
like you, but I have
Yeah,
to
there's no
process.
one
And
else
I've seen
leading
that.
me, kind of a thing. Is that
I've
what you're
seen,
saying?
yeah, I've seen some of them go. You've really helped change the way I've seen things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like I disagreed, and I'm like, thank you for being
But
quiet.
you gave me a new perspective.
Yeah, it's because
Mm-hmm.
like if you get mouthy, I don't appreciate it. But if you're over
Mm-mm.
here trying, you ponder these things, ponder them. You don't have to agree with me,
Yes.
but at least give me a 6 to 8 months until you come to a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Watch a couple of
Just
shows, right?
entertain it in your mind, like just
Right. And then again, if you want to walk away, kind of go like, you know what? I'm not sure if I agree with this guy. I'm going to pick up one or two books, cross reference, come back. And then you
mm-hmm.
want to message me and be like, when I first followed you, I thought you were a kook.
Mm-hmm.
Now I, I think I agree with you.
Yeah,
And I had
yeah,
that.
like I say,
I with Call of Conspiracy, Jonathan was saying, even prior to me being on the show, apparently somebody said they caught him in a lie, and this is not a diss in any way, shape, or form. But he was saying, I used to think Kroll was crazy, but I think he's right on a lot of these things. And then I was doing the
it's
show, and he says, I
true.
think this is your best episode yet. Because before I was like, some of the stuff I was like, meh. But this one, I'm like, I get it. I really see where you're. And
Yeah,
I'm like, I had to do a lot of groundwork, so you understand
yeah.
why I'm presenting this today. But you
Yeah,
see it
because you're so far from where most people are. Like you got to
You
go
saw
and bring them a trail of breadcrumbs to lead you to, or like it's kind of also almost like nursing a runtly sick puppy. If it can't eat solid food, you got to give it milk and little
yeah.
to you got to get, and it finally gets stronger and stronger and more, and then you're like, hey, you're ready for more. You're ready for
Hmm.
more and more, and then finally you're like, okay,
Well,
that it
it's
is.
what was it? Conspiracy thing is like you just wait 6 months or something like that until it comes through.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what we're doing. We're over here going, "This is happening." They're like, and then they're like, "What else you
Yeah.
got?"
Exactly. But what once until a person all they, some people need more than others. Like some people only need to see it a couple times. They're like, oh my gosh. Because again, I use the dot analogy, or I don't know if that's the best one, but if there are dots being put on the map and like it's coloring in it's a picture is emerging, okay, kind of like this thing of, okay, is Trump a good guy or a bad guy? Well,
Right.
you need to make a list of all of the weird things, father of the
Oh, you said the
MAGA,
word.
took $1 million from the, oh, sorry.
It's all good. Just make it. What's the timestamp? Just let me know.
Yeah, it is, let's see where we're at here. 3 hours and 24 minutes.
324. Okay. Again, I'm
Yeah,
just making a
324.
mental note so I can
Yeah, make
edit
a
when it
mental
properly.
note.
Yeah.
Um, if he and then you make the list of all the things, and you will come to a conclusion. It's all data. It's information. And again, that's why I like to use the CIA now analysis. You're building a profile of this person. If you are living in world 2025 and you're not building a profile of the people that are leading you, you are
Yes.
insane. You are
Yes.
insane. Build a profile of Robert F. Kennedy, build a profile of Trump, build a profile of all these people, because you have to know who they are because they're leading you. And
Right.
also they're
Right.
giving it's just so crazy to me, but most people, they don't want to do that. It seems
They.
fundamental.
We've been, as you said. Raise my hand. Can I go pee? Raise your hand. Can I do this?
Yes.
Mother, may I? That's literally what they programmed into us. And as you said, we have a culture. Do not question authority.
Hmm.
Why? Right? And again, it's when you're even trying to figure out with God, I'm not questioning his authority. I'm just trying to refine what is this going to require if I say yes and consent to
Hmm.
following him. Because what does he say? They hated me, they're gonna hate you. What does
Hmm.
that look like? Right? And you start breaking down, oh, this is I have to get rid of materialism. Yeah, I have to quit my traditions
Yeah.
of men.
Have to
Yeah, I
turn
have
away from the wickedness of this world.
right. And you start going, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah, this is really friggin' hard.
Hmm.
Because if it's not hard for you or you're not dying to self, again, Paul's a leader. He says, I die to self daily. I'm still going through it.
Hmm.
That's what it means. Still going through it. And I'm still writing out context and clarity of what Christ said and verifying with Old Testament. This checks out, buddy. And we need to implement it because we can't go back to what we were doing. We are walking away, being
Hmm.
countercultural, and we are implementing a change. Did it work? Yeah.
Hmm.
People are leaving temples. People are dumping idols, and to a point where it says, Paul, where all the philosophers meet, come talk to us because we don't understand you, man.
Hmm.
We see the change. This Christianity philosophy, right? Faith, it's a faith. But it's changing district by district of Rome without drawing a sword. Explain it, please. Please explain it. Because we
Hmm.
see it. And as philosophers, when people actually implement something, that causes us to ponder. Usually it's a Diogenes or something like that.
Hmm.
He's living in a barrel, weird guy, but he's one out of many. We're seeing a community. Why is
Yeah.
yours so
It's
popular?
growing.
Yes, and it's converting an empire.
Hmm.
That that prompted people, the wise men, to say, that makes no sense to us, but please, by all means, try to explain it to us. We don't
Because
care.
because they're probably trying to look at it from a rational, logical mind, and they're not in that spiritual faith. Is that what it you think it
Yes,
was?
but and that goes into what Gandhi and or it was an Indian philosopher. The debate's still out on that. Says, "I like your Christ. I'm not so fond of his Christians."
Hmm.
And yeah, because Christian means you emulate the anointed one in your own life, right?
Hmm.
And back then, that's what it was. You guys are willing to die for this, just as he
Hmm.
did. Well, why? Why would you want to go through all this
Yeah, it's
persecution?
irrational. It's illogical, right?
Yes, you're living a lifestyle that is making, again, even the wise men go, what is it? Okay.
Yeah. What am I
Okay, one
missing?
more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Explain to me.
Explain it to me as if it was a 5-year-old, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I'm wise. I'm known for my wisdom in these
But
parts.
that is their fault. That
But
is the,
this
that's
one
the reason they can't get
blows
it.
my mind. And whether or not they convert or not, again, other people want to know what the wise men are talking about. So they sit there and then they hear this other guy going, wow, none of these guys have an answer for what he's talking about. But they're sitting here puzzled
Hmm.
from this. I want to know, I want to go to the source. Tell me more about this thing, right? And again, it doesn't mean you convert instantaneously, but you planted a seed from somebody who
Hmm.
inquired of the faith that's within you. Because you're so different, man. I
Hmm.
want a little bit of whatever it is you have, and I want to do that. And that is the life of Christ. Zacchaeus, I'm robbing everybody blind. I want to know who this guy is everybody's talking about. I can't see him through the crowd, so I'll climb a tree. I get a peek of him, and what does he say? You, come into your house today. Huh? I'm the scoundrel in the village. You want to come to my
Hmm.
place? And when he does, I want to give back double to everybody that I've been grifting off of.
Hmm.
What does that do? We don't know what was said, but I think part of it, his character was enough. I'll come and hang out with you. And everybody, the
Wow.
Pharisees and everything are going, why are you hanging out with him? You guys wouldn't understand. Because I can
Yeah.
hang out with them, but I am not of them. I'm the word of God. You guys are literally all beneath me, spiritually
Hmm.
speaking, but I'm willing to come down and wash some feet because I care about you guys.
Hmm.
Right. And again, dusting off your sandals, as I added a little bit more to that.
Hmm.
Dust is on the bottom of your feet, right? So when I'm dusting off my sandals, what am I telling to people? You love the things of this earth. Again, Kaaba cube is the cross when you fold it up. That's what
Hmm.
cross is carrying. He's the things of this earth, and his word conquers it. Right? That symbol killed him. The things of earth. 12 or Hebrews 12:2. He brings that cross before the throne of God. Says he's dying to things of this earth. I'm dusting off my sandals to people that want to keep playing in the sandbox of life.
Hmm.
Right? And if you want to keep playing with your sand, dust thou art, and to dust thou shalt return. Here you go. Is that a
Hmm.
curse? No, but I think it's some very symbolic saying this town, they keep wanting to play in a sandbox. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm telling them spiritually, it's not about just your skin. It's about what's in eternity, your soul. But if you just care about things of this world, dust thou art, and to dust thou shalt return. Here you
Hmm.
go. And what does Christ say? You got some dust on your shoes, on your feet. Let me wash them off for you.
Hmm.
It's a refining process. Thank you for coming on this journey for me. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Let me give you something today. No, I'm not. No, Peter, it's okay. I'm happy to have you
Hmm.
coming with me. Let me wash your
Wow.
feet. Shut up. That's
Hmm.
what it feels
Yeah.
like for you
Yeah.
and me. You don't have
Yeah.
to be at my level, and I'm not saying I'm Christ. I'm just saying in the same premise. You don't
Right.
have to be where I'm at. Just thank you for joining me.
Hmm.
Right? Let me just share something with you because that's all I have. I don't have, again, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have, I will give. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I don't have much, but I can explain symbolism. I can have a conversation.
Hmm.
Hopefully it helps you. And hopefully it gives you a little vigor to go bouncing and leaping and praising God and, prompting other people to ask you, what's this loony guy doing?
Yeah, and help you be, healthier, happier, more grounded. I mean, all those the things that we all want,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know,
It's really
good.
not that hard. We just overcomplicate it, man. I think
We
that's generally.
do. We do. The mind likes to overcomplicate. But like I say, once people get on the path of moving towards simplicity and simplifying, you know, and then it's just every area of your life. And but it is you got to reverse engineer, you got to reverse yourself out and walk backwards out of the web of lies and deception that has us all like tangled in, and
Right.
cutting that web away, that's the work, I think. And just simplifying as much as possible, because um yeah, I just know getting more tangled into, talking about the, interweb and the network of, what do they call it, the network of things, the I don't want to be part of that. That's not something I'm even noticing it. More places are really trying to get you into their, the text connection, the logging into.
Yes.
I just don't want any part of it. I want to look at my phone as little as I can every day and still do the work that I'm inspired to do,
Right.
or look at a computer as little as I can. I mean, I want to be looking at nature, and then I always think of ways how to do that, because these things, they're while there's a positive thing, we can connect and communicate over the web here. Um, I don't want to, I want to communicate and connect with like-minded people and people that are inspiring and connect, on the path. I don't want to use this to watch CNN all day,
But well, right. It's like
or
what can I be for again, counterly? Because eventually they want to kill us, right? They want to kill the
yeah,
truth.
anyone that's speaking out
Conspiracy
and
theorists, we're vigilantes in the dark saying
sure,
we're against the official narrative,
yeah,
right? So, but what you
thorns in the
just said,
side.
I think actually Instagram hit me when I put this up,
Mm,
saying simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, Leonardo da Vinci.
yes, one of my
And I
favorites.
think they were like, he didn't say that. I'm like,
Oh, did they give
really?
you a fact check?
I just did an AI thing while you were speaking, and it says, yeah, it's attributed to him, not, but it does reflect his works at the
Yeah,
very least, whether it's not yes or no. But they hit that, and it's like, this is just,
really?
well,
Like
yeah,
if
it's like, what if I just said it was like, what if it was satire? It's like,
yeah, what difference
the
does it
only
make?
good zombie's a dead zombie, Abraham Lincoln. Like
Yeah,
it's a joke, right? It's satire, but they can't even tolerate satire
yeah,
these days.
that's the level of, thinking for us that they want to do. They just want everything. That's why, I mean, I hope people wake up before we get into this thing, because all it will take is a mass, like, no, how they say this, this mass movement of I will not comply. All it takes is I do not comply. I do not comply, and I will take whatever consequence you give me. I've said it before, like the level of conviction of people during COVID times to not get it for me was, you want to lock me in a cement room and put me in solitary confinement for my life, go ahead and do it. I'm
Mhm.
never trusting. Once you know these people and you know their game and you know who they are, you're done. You cannot go back. You know that nothing they have is beneficial for you. This is my message to people. I just want people to understand nothing they have is beneficial for you. Everything they offer you, especially if it's free, is always designed not in your best interest. Everything.
If it's free, it's not for me.
Yeah, if it's free, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, there's no shame in that, dude. It's saying I'm going to work for what I believe in and what I do.
yeah.
And there's no shame in that. And again, and I was chuckling when I was watching the I think it was two interviews with Satanists, and one of them was Anton LaVey's daughter, and another one was like a spokesman for the church. And he says, "Is it not true that in your own Bible it says to he that does not work he should not eat?" He's
Mm,
saying, yeah, that's the thing. He says, so why do you have these programs where you're just feeding people that aren't even bothering to work? He's like, well, but I'm like, I understand where he's coming from, because he does make the interesting point. Again, what motivates somebody to go towards the Church of Satan? But it's the aspect of like, he's right. I'm citing your book,
mm.
and it is something that's true.
Like a
It is a
flaw,
precedent.
yeah.
Because at a certain point, it's like, yes, I can keep feeding you, but there's certain people, they're not poor for the reason of being poor. They're poor because they have allowed themselves, I want to do drugs as opposed to work,
Yeah.
right? So why would I reward that, right? As opposed the other one is saying, I'm going to work to establish myself. It says, okay, you want to give me a free meal, but what can I do for you, right? You want me to wash your car before you give me some
Mm-hmm.
$5 to go get something down the road, right? So this is in essence is you have to set a precedent of not necessarily handouts, but it's like I would like to contribute something back for
Mm-hmm.
what you're offering for me, and because you have the means, I would like to provide the labor or
Yeah.
resources for you to extend that towards me. And that's what I really like about shows like The Blacklist and or like Oklahoma King, but you're probably familiar with Blacklist before you turned
Yeah,
off.
blacklist.
It's the
Uh-huh.
premise of building a community, whether it's underworld or whatnot. I am
Mm-hmm.
building a community, and you guys are willing to join me. I will lead this community because a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't want to lead, but I am cultivating a family of such diversity. But everybody has a particular set of skills based off of their background. But I don't really care about whether their medical shortcomings or whether
Yeah.
their ethnicity or whatever their story was. At a certain point, I'm the key crux between all of these people because I see value in every single
Mm-hmm.
person. I don't just cast them out because oh you're part of that group and I don't talk to that group. No, I see myself as a okay, you're another member on the team. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
I love you. I want
Comrade
to
in arms.
thank you and I want to help
Mm-hmm.
you start your own dynasty, your own movement,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like with Christ. I sometimes 12 is the max. If we did more than that, a lot of you aren't going to understand, right? A certain
Mm-hmm.
event, each one person who sees themselves as a leader, if you keep doing that with 12, sometimes,
Yeah.
again, think about with the servant with the talents. I can only do one. Can you try to do with the
Mm-hmm.
one that you have, cultivate at least two people? You who has
Yes.
five, can you try to reach 10?
Yeah.
Start small, like you said, baby steps,
Mm-hmm.
then go big before you get to the Hegelian dialect and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, Brandon. Good stuff. All right. There we
That was
go.
lengthy,
That's
but I felt good, dude.
it did feel good. I think the Hegelian dialectic is one of the big once you see it, it's one of the easiest ways I feel for people to wake up because you see it
Mm,
play out. Again, once you see the game, because what the Hegelian dialectic is, and doing that shows like this, when I see people sharing on social media, I think it's you're revealing their primary gameplay.
yes.
Do you think there's anything more? Do you think the enemy has another play that is more prominent or more omnipresent or universal? I mean,
Well, I mean, Hegelian
like,
dialect, but then you have the predictive programming and
yeah.
Medea.
And
Uh,
which one?
Medea.
Medea, will you explain that?
I think it's Meadea. She was the goddess of illusion.
I'm thinking of also, that's funny that Medea
Oracle of Delphi.
is also Tyler Perry's character. That's weird.
Uh,
Which he's a,
that's,
he's a clown in and of himself, his but anyway, so Medea, predictive programming, yeah, good stuff, good ones.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
the Oracle of Delphi. The soothsayers never went away. The druids never went away. They
Mm,
just upgraded their craft for time. Again, then the soothsayers trace back to the Egyptians that were throwing down the staffs to go competing against Moses.
mm-hmm,
We think they're just like, oh, creepy little pagan guys doing whatever they're doing, but God win. It's like, yeah, but I'm not saying I'm not denouncing God has ultimate authority because his staff ate the magician's staffs, right? But
mm-hmm.
these guys didn't go away, right?
Sure,
It's
they just
like
transformed themselves and,
right.
and
It's like
upgraded themselves
still
for the
like where some
time.
people's like Elon's not human, this guy's not human, and it's like, well, yeah, some of these people they come from the shadows,
Yeah, the
and then they put them in
technology.
the our light, right? The angel light, Illuminati, Kabbalah, right? This is the thing is they take these people that are raised in very interesting circles. Let's put it that way
Right.
for
Yeah,
very
for
basic.
interesting reasons, right? And for
Yes,
purposes.
and they're
Yeah.
cultivated to be put on center stage for a particular purpose, right?
Hmm.
We're all act as Shakespeare and or Sir Francis Bacon
Yes.
once
The
penned.
whole world's a
We're all
stage.
actors. So yeah, the
Hmm.
world is a stage. And I wrote a counterpoint to that. I said, if all the world's a stage, shouldn't one learn how to act?
Ooh, that is good. Yeah.
Because a lot of people seems like, yeah, you're all playing a role, but some people are over here bumbling around. They're getting on stage and they're just like, where am I?
Yeah.
It's like you're part of the execution scene.
Yeah.
Please step onto the
Play the part
gallows.
that you were born to play,
Right.
right.
And where again, like I said, they bumble on stage, but they don't know what they're doing on stage.
Mhm.
And so they just funnel you around. You're part of the crowd. You're part of this, and that's it. Now go look, exit left, right over there, and then they
Yeah.
disappear. You never see them again. That's your life. Whereas, as I've told people before, I like seeing myself as the what's the guy? Robin Williams when he was doing the Dead Poets Society.
Oh, yeah. You've
He's
said
doing
this before.
Carpe Diem, seize the day. everybody can contribute a verse to this. Don't just go bumbling around like a little goofball and you're stumbling around on the stage and then they just push you away. I want you to speak truth to power and try to
Mhm.
contribute a verse. Something, something. Because
Yeah.
what you say now is going to echo in eternity. Because
Yes.
you're too
Yes. Yes.
scared to
Yes.
share a
Yes.
meme. I'm too scared to say something in my local circle like you don't want to do online. That's fine.
Mhm.
Do something.
Mhm.
But the best I see is ridicule. That's the best you can, or cynical comment, a dislike
Mhm.
on a video. That's the best you can do.
Yeah.
Really?
Everybody's a critic, right?
Yeah, everybody's a critic, but nobody can stand up and do anything. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, you do not get it. If that's the best you can do is write down a guilty verdict, and you have
Mhm.
no idea about what the person did in order to get to the point where you're scrutinizing and judging them, or you're viewing them with the stereotype that the lawyer, again, Jesuits, is
Yeah.
telling you how to perceive this individual, or the government is telling you how to define this instance because you don't know how to think for yourself. If that's the best you can do because someone's explaining to you they want you to think about the outcome of this,
Mhm.
I pity you.
Yeah.
I pity you. Because it's not about that. It's literally thinking, if I put myself in their shoes and not listening to what this guy is telling me, would I, is it I? Right? As all the disciples were asking, is it me? Is it I? Is it I? One
Mhm.
of them knew. Why? Because he bothered to leave the group, but everybody else had to ask, am I capable of betraying you? Is it me?
Mhm.
Yeah. All of you are capable if you don't know how to think for yourself.
Yes.
That's all I'm asking. Be it
Yeah.
start gravitating towards individualism, because once you're at individualism, you're single, and the Holy Spirit can say, "Hey, I hear you
And
want a
like you
relationship."
and like you said, if you don't have a purpose, you're a pawn in another man's game. And
Yeah,
and and that this is what's so sinister is I'm glad you said that because everyone's capable of betraying only because they didn't find their own truth and let's like you said turn out all the media and they don't want to. I don't think they intentionally want to betray, but they're deceived to betray. This is how
that
crafty, you
that
know.
goes to Christ on the cross. Do you
Yeah.
now get the phrase, "Forgive them; they know not what they do"? The crowd coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, first you're saying Hosanna, Hosanna. The next minute you're hearing what the Pharisees are saying about me in the crowd, and you're saying
Yeah.
crucify me. Do you know why? No. But you're getting rid of the best thing you've ever had, the word of God. You pushed it
Right.
away from your midst. You killed it. Right?
Yeah,
And
you
then
were
only those who
deceived.
believe in that it came back are going to be saved, right?
Mhm.
This is what it's coming down to, folks, is that you're still listening to the den of vipers, and some of us are
Yes.
saying,
So
"Stop.
true.
You've got to look to the Son of Man as went on that cross." And again, because we symbolize the cross, we're not supposed to worship the cross. We're not supposed to have any graven image. What are we supposed to remember? The man and what he lived,
Mhm.
what he said, what he did. That is what I want you to see on me, not my little cross necklace. I want you to see that in me. And I want to
Mhm.
hear you're different. I want to hear you're a bit of an anomaly. I want to hear you're not like all the other ones I've met.
Mhm.
Why? Because that means I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
You're not hating me, but or you're seeing good. Good. Thank you, God. I hope that's what I'm emitting to somebody,
Yeah.
that gets them inspired to go, wow, that takes a lot of courage to do what you do. Yeah. And you're willing to
Hmm.
join me. It sucks, but welcome to the fam.
Yeah, in a world of lies, truth is treason, right? When you stand up and share truth and get people to think differently and look at really look and examine what's happening, you are gonna be a different character in the world,
Yeah.
you know, you
No.
know. Good stuff, Brandon. Good stuff.
Yeah. This is good, man. I feel
It
elated every time.
Yeah, always good to having these conversations with you and talking about these things. It's beneficial for me too.
Mm.
It is very much so. So until next time.
Oh, Man Daily Podcast, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, and Patreon. If you can support, and then Krollology, the usual, same name, Laura_101. And then you want to throw out anything for my audience where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm everywhere at G Mark Phillips, YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, all the socials. Um, Website gmarkphillips.com. That's my handle, and that's where you can find all my stuff if you want to
Or are you going to
follow.
have this baby steps thing?
Uh, you know, the, I'm still yeah, as we know, there's so much work on our plate, and I'm still kind of thinking how it'll be on YouTube when it comes out.
Okay.
The first one I was almost ready to go down yesterday, but then I want to make sure that I'm staying on brand with my stuff, and I want to make sure that I'm addressing the most important things that are on my plate now, because I've got another one in the bank, a couple different ideas, and one of them was what's the other one? The new one was, is it just me? Which is a whole bunch of observations about the world that just aren't adding up.
Right.
I've shared some of them. That one they'll all be on my YouTube channel. That's where I put most of my stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to share those kind of things, because I think we're all seeing, a lot of us are seeing similar uh, anomalies, incongruences in the the people that are running the world. And I sometimes think, are they getting sloppy? Are they getting arrogant? Because more people are seeing through, this Jeff Bezos space capsule thing. It looks like it's a total comedy. I've sketched a little bit of it. More people are seeing through. I don't know. It's hard to say what's really going on, but it's
Yeah.
laughable to me now. But all right, there we go. Thanks, Brandon.